All right. Looks like we're live. Troy and Jerry think Dank tonight with George from Dynavap. George is in self quarantine, so we thought we would take advantage of the situation and get him on board and grill him with questions about the 2020 M and all the other fun things that we forgot to ask him last time.
That's right.
How you doing tonight, George?
Doing all right, I think. It's only been 6 days since I got back from the quickest trip to Europe I've ever experienced.
Right.
You got to leave the airport, right?
Yeah, I had it basically amounted to about a 22-hour layover in Barcelona.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not at the airport, though, was it?
You know, the only thing that was dumb about the airport was all these people that just showed up, early a Thursday morning thinking that they were going to just magically change their plane tickets, leave early, and just check in. You know, it was really crazy. Ended up getting to the airport about 3 hours before the flight. I figured that was about the limit that I'd actually be able to check my bags, so they only open it, so early. And found a lot of what I was expecting to find, a crowded airport with a whole bunch of people wanting to check their bags. What I wasn't prepared for is how many of those people standing in their line wanting to check their bags didn't have plane tickets to leave that day.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah.
What?
We're not talking about just one or two people. We're talking about enough people that it took an hour and a half to check my bags. And I was there 3 hours before the flight. It was just insane. And just to kind of really illustrate how silly it was, after I finally dropped the bag, it took 10 minutes to get through security. Okay.
That's the trip back, huh?
That was a trip back.
Wow.
Which it wasn't terrible, but I tell you, for what that economy class seat cost, yeah, that was the most I've ever spent on a plane ticket.
Had you guys started setting up at all?
What's that?
I'm sorry. Had you guys started setting up at all or not?
No, but there was quite a few other vendors that had the larger booths that had.
Yeah, I saw some.
We were going to be setting up on Thursday. On Friday. No, show starts Friday. We're going to be setting up
Friday.
I got there Wednesday. Yeah, so I got there Wednesday morning and basically hung out, got something to eat, went to the cookie stores, opening a cookie store in Barcelona. So we actually got VapCap M's in the cookie store, which is kind of cool. Which I don't know if it's now. Yeah.
Dope.
So that was kind of cool. Went down there, hung out with those guys as they're getting ready to open the store, and then thought I'd head back and take a quick nap before we went out to one of the clubs there in Barcelona to do some demos. Tried to take a nap for an hour, and that didn't work because they started hammer drilling on the side of the building as soon as I laid down. Yeah, so I didn't get a nap, but I did get a shower and went out and did some demos for a couple hours. And just as things are kind of winding down and Pranav finally lands, is on his way there, got a cab. I met him outside. We went over to the apartment, kind of hung out with a few of our friends from EU. And just as we're finally finishing up, they left. We're winding down, going to get some sleep. And then phone starts lighting up because Trump was making his rather ill-prepared announcement that's totally lacking in all critical details that created mass panic. And I thought I was ahead of the curve that immediately after I found out about this, okay, Pranav, yeah, that's a little more serious than I think, or than we might think. Even though neither of us have slept in over 30 some hours, we better buy plane tickets to leave right away.
Yeah.
And so
wow.
We bought plane tickets to leave right away. And looking at the clock, and I told him, just if you find plane tickets are going to get you home, just buy it. I don't care about the price, because the cost to stay in Europe for 30 days is a lot more than what that plane ticket.
No doubt.
A lot more, yeah, for real.
And so his plane ticket was about $2,700, and so was mine on two different airlines.
2,700 euros.
It was $2,700. It was like
$2,700. Okay.
Yeah, not quite that
bad. Wow, that's amazing.
For economy, right? And we were on like right away. When I first thought I had a ticket, it was like $800, and I was like, oh. But by the time I could even start the purchase process, it disappeared. It was just nuts.
It's like being on Ticketmaster, man, trying to get, Sting or some big fucking name.
Oh yeah, a big name.
Forget
It was
that
just
shit.
crazy.
That's funny. It shows you where I'm from. Talking about Sting on the show. What the hell, man.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I'm digging the M, man. This thing is fun.
You like it?
I really do. And I was looking at the lineup here because I've got them in a line, and I really liked last year's look. But man, when I hold it next to this one, it's amazing how much you really put into this. I mean, I told Troy the other night, I feel like this is you're now narrowing the gap between the M and the Omnis at this point. You're kind of heading up there now, but you're staying down low. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, we'll see what we come up with for the Omni. Hopefully, be working on that soon if they ever let me back in my shop.
Yeah, right. Be a couple of weeks minimum. Jeez.
I don't know how long it's going to be. So far I haven't had any significant symptoms.
Good.
Yeah, nothing significant. Got a little itch in the back of my throat today, but not really coughing, no fever, no anything significant. Now it's been almost a week, so I'm thinking, trying to be optimistic here.
Itchy throats are normal for guys like us, man. That kind of comes with the territory. So
yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah,
but no, I'm just glad you're back safe, and then hopefully the quarantine all works out for you.
Yeah, I hope so. I just really want to get back to work, and want to do everything we can to keep everything in production, because I don't want to disappoint any customers. That's just no fun.
Yeah, right on, man. We got 420 around the corner, man. We're ramping up.
We're keep those machines running.
That's right.
I really wonder what's going to happen with all the shipments and a lot of the other devices. Or is there going to be a shortage, or is it going to be just fine because people are going to be holding on to their dollars because they think the world's coming to an end? I don't know. I'm really hoping that things are going to kind of settle out, that everyone's going to get, a 2-year supply of toilet paper over the course of the next week or two as the stores continue to restock this crazy.
That's right, man. Need to cut down some fucking trees, man. I got to wipe my butt.
Man, it'd
These
be
guys
great
are buying
if we
all
could,
the stuff.
If we could leverage some of these new social distancing energies and leverage them in a way to create more vaporizer awareness.
I was hoping that we could do that. And, with these little portable personal straws, why can't everyone just have their own? And we can get together and we can sit 6 feet apart and we can still enjoy a little get together.
6 feet apart, I love it.
Like 6 feet apart, you think about it, you stretch your arm out, that's a good 3 feet. So if we have you think about it, if we have a nice big round table, we could probably sit 4 or 5 people in the round table. We could put an induction heater in the middle, and we could all be 6 feet apart from one another and using the same induction heater, just kind of chilling.
That is a big ass table, but I like it.
Yeah,
you could put one of those Blazy Susans in the middle of it.
Yeah. Yeah. What I'm talking about. That'd be great.
Blazy Susan with a couple induction heaters and a couple grinders.
Right, and a whole selection of various things to put inside your extraction device of choice.
Extraction device of choice. I like that.
Yeah, extraction.
That's really what we're here to talk about is, thermal extraction devices.
Pretty much. We got a few here, man. We got a few here.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something about this M. These is it chiral or chiral airports? Chiral. Yeah. What happens when you just full on do them both? Like I tend to look at them as like dual offsets. Like if I open one, it runs around one side and the other one the other way. But what happens when I open them both up, man? On your simulations, what's going on?
Oh man, it's called chiral chaos.
I like it.
And it will turbulate the living out of your vapor.
And that's a good thing.
I guess if you like, turbulation.
Is that what we're going for?
I think turbulation is kind of a great thing for vapor conditioning.
I noticed it. Like when I go half versus both open, I can feel the flicker on my tongue versus smooth over the tongue.
Yeah, what's really crazy, if you just leave them wide open and you just give a good solid, it'll make a rather interesting induction noise.
An induction noise?
Yeah. Well, what's induction? Everyone seems to think induction only has to do with electromagnetism, but You know, if you think back in the muscle car days, for example, you had ram induction, right? You have cold air induction. You have forced induction. Turbochargers, superchargers. Induction is basically another way to describe how should we describe it?
I don't know. I'm half lost, man.
Yeah. I mean, induction is just another variant on the word induce, right? And we've all read on the back labels of some of these medicines that we eat, or poisons, like brake cleaner and stuff like that. That if you drink it, you're not supposed to induce vomiting, or you are supposed to induce vomiting, to cause or create. So, induction can mean a wide range of different things, and that's really what induction heater doing is it's inducing eddy currents in what you call a susceptor. Just a piece of material that's electrically conductive. You put it inside of an oscillating electromagnetic field, and it induces eddy currents. And unless that object that you're putting in that induction coil is a superconductor, just the electricity flowing around in there makes things get hot.
It catches it, huh?
Yeah.
So that wave's going through it and it catches it and gets hot?
Yeah, something like that.
I can see that.
But, all we really care about is, you put the thing in the hole, and when you push the right button, it gets hot.
Well, that's what I'm doing here, man. I love it, dude. Though I love it. The look. I like playing with the airports. What about on this tip? Like Troy and I were talking the other day. The tip's heavier, the fins are thicker. So I sit there and I go, does that mean it's more of a heat sink, or it changes the dissipation somehow? Or I haven't really decided how I think it changes the session yet.
Well, it should keep the extraction chamber hot longer. There's just a little bit more mass in this tip than in our previous tips. And it gives it kind of a completely different look too, which is kind of nice and different. Where the previous fins tended to taper and be kind of thin on top, these ones are kind of fat, got a double ridge on them, and they're grouped together to give it just a different look, because evenly spaced stuff just wasn't quite as cool.
But they don't dissipate that well, right? Don't they kind of hang on to the heat because they're so thick and solid?
Yeah, they're going to hang on to the heat longer. So what you may notice is that this device takes a little bit longer to make the cap click. It also stays hot just a little bit longer when you're taking a nice long draw, especially if you're leaving that airport unobstructed, so you can induce your chiral chaos into your air vapor stream.
Chiral Chaos is a pretty good band name.
Chiral Chaos. Well, maybe we should maybe we should make a band.
So we were talking about the other night in Vape Church as well, and people have been continuing that discussion.
Make the band. All right. You want to call it Chiral Chaos? That's cool.
That's the sound of chaos right here.
Austin called it the death whistle. That's what he called it.
I think it sounds like arrival.
Arrival?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that means.
It's the chiral arrival.
Chiral arrival.
It means you're almost there.
You're almost wide open and almost there. I love it, man.
I seem to have misplaced my 2020.
Oh,
you can't find it? We got to get it, man.
Well, I intentionally got out the 2019s, and I was trying to do I was vaping blindly. I was sitting here in the dark with my eyes closed, vaping on both, trying to see, if I could identify the real differences just by hand.
Right.
Yeah, because we talked about that in our video that was supposed to launch today, but it's going to launch after this stream. our 2020 Think Dank M episode.
Nice.
But yeah, we talked about the difference in the feelings, because we both agree that the 2019 really nailed down the grip. Like you can pick it up, you can feel around, you can find the hole.
Where you're at.
Easy to nail it.
Yeah, and the 2020, it's a little more subtle, but it's still there, and it's still the same characteristics. It has that pointy rocker on the opposite side, and you can rock into it.
Yeah, I like the rocker. I think it's kind of a really nice tactile feature, and if you're just driving around on this device with your fingers, I hope that what people are going to find is that there's all kinds of interesting, different, and kind of fun tactile interfaces. From the facets on the tip. If you're just kind of rolling it between your fingers like this, doing the same thing on the fins is a completely different experience because they're very, very smooth because it's a turn geometry. But if you try and rub them, along the length of it, they're kind of grippy, which is kind of fun. And then we get into the new grip, which has, kind of a fun number of 7 different eye-catching little facets on there. It gives it a whole different characteristic as you just kind of rotate. And then you get up to the top, you got the chiral airports, you got the rocker with the little M on the backside, and just all kinds of different things if you just roll it around. So it's almost like a fidget tool without anything that spins.
Mm-hmm.
And then you put the cap on. And, oh yeah, that spins too. Just
So,
because.
on the, what did you call it, Jerry? The dodecahedron? Is that what you said it was?
It's like a dodecagon. Is that what it is? The 12-sided thing, a dodecagon?
Dodecagon.
Dodecagon.
Yeah, so all the sides on the tip, where the tip used to be round, now
Right.
it's multifaceted. On each side there are tick marks, and those tick marks have some pattern.
They do. It's so funny because you've mentioned it, and a few other people have mentioned it as well. It's like, okay, should I explain what it is, or should I just let it kind of hang out there for a little while? Because it's kind of a fun thing.
It's the zigzag,
Why
right?
is it there
It's
for?
the zigzag M from the old one, right?
Oh, geez, Jerry, you're kind of an observant guy.
There's 3 of them on there, just like the old one, except you can't do it on a curved surface the same, so you put them little notches in. I thought it was pretty cool.
Well, it's really interesting if you just take and hold a 2020 right next to a 2019 and just kind of roll them at the same time. You're going to see some interesting patterns emerge.
Okay. All right.
That'll be fun because it looked like you had the zigzags going in opposite directions for some reason. Like it wasn't exactly you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But okay, I'll have to put them next to each other and see what the hell you're talking about. Is this it?
Yeah.
Of course, I'm gonna burn myself because I'm hitting them at the same time, man. That's awesome.
Man,
There it goes.
So you talked about the 7 facets, and I love the way the light just bounces off of it and kind of rolls down the curvy lines. It's really fucking dope. And then you got the 12-sided thing up top. Are we changing numbers here, or just giving gonna get a hit them all, or where we? You know me, I'm always looking for the 3s and 9s, and I was like, these are 7s and 12s, man. What's this guy doing?
Right. Well, we got the hydrovongs and we've got the omnis, which tend to be in the 3s and 6s and the 9s. So we need to give the M a little bit of its own personality. I think that's a big part of it.
So 7 and 12, are those next in line, or are you really doing a 5, like the difference between, or what do you hint?
Well, 7 and 12 is another nice odd number. We add them together, right?
19.
Yeah. 19 is 2 out of the 3 digits of 419.
what?
Oh,
419. 419.
Yeah. It's 419 without the 4.
All right, I'm gonna.
And I guess if we want to go that route, we've got 4 fat fins. So,
all right, I'm just sitting here rolling my M's, man. I'm rolling my M's.
I just rolled mine as well.
they're kind of fun to roll. I think it's something that many people get a little bit of satisfaction out of, rolling things between their fingers.
Did you explain the chiral thing while we were streaming, or was that before we actually went live?
Oh, we can certainly get into it again unless people don't want to hear about it.
I think people need to know what the actual definition of like chiral is and why you're using it here.
People need to know, George.
People need to know, right? So chiral is a form of bilateral symmetry where you can take 2 objects that look very similar if they're symmetrical in a mirror, right? Like my hands, they go together like this. But if I superimpose them, they don't line up. So it's a form of symmetry. So it seemed like kind of a fun word, and it's not a real commonly used term. So it seemed like a fun thing to use for defining our airports, since there's now 2 of them.
Okay, so it's a form of symmetry where if they're superimposed, they aren't aligned.
They don't line up.
And it's you said it's a chemistry thing, right?
It's very commonly used in chemistry to describe different isomers of the same compound.
Okay, yeah, that's what I remember it from as well.
You're gonna start saying a lot of words I don't know in a minute here. I can tell. Isomers. I don't know where we're going now.
Oh man,
Isn't that just a fun word? You know, we were having a conversation, Pranav and I, about what are we going to call the airports? And the initial thought I was thinking chemistry is we call it isomeric air injection, right? And it just didn't quite work. And so he's like, well, what about chiral? It's like, since chiral is a word that's typically used to describe isomers, maybe we can go with that. And so decided, we'll go with chiral. Why not?
Why not?
It's not something you see used to describe too many things on that many consumer products, at least the ones that I'm aware of.
I like it. I think it works.
Yeah, but yeah. I've never seen it and it works. Nice.
Yeah.
What about this whole 12-sided thing, man? Are we just screwing around? Because basically it looks to me like that's opened up the airflow a little bit, and it's probably, is the air now just kind of shooting straight in? It's not really following these little zigzags as it goes in, is it?
Oh, well, I can imagine it's doing all kinds of different things. One of the biggest changes now, besides the facets, is since the tip and the cap now just click on with the captive cap geometry.
Mm-hmm.
You can just hang there kind of loose. The annular airspace between the cap and the tip is a lot more uniform now, and just having variations in the geometry of the tip induces turbulence. So you're going to find a number of different surface variations in this tip, from the flats to the little cuts through the flats. And one of the things that's a lot harder to see, but it's definitely there, is right at the very end of the chamber here. There's actually a semi non-continuous ring, and that's what the captive geometry in the cap actually clicks onto. So if you slide it on real slowly until it just starts to feel some resistance, and you push on it, it clicks into place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the geometry on the cap riding through 2 opposing facets until it hits that last little ring on the end and just clicks on. Nice. So I don't know if the camera will zoom in, but
yeah,
right here, there's just a slight increase in diameter. It's not much,
right?
Just enough. And it's also kind of fun when you take and press the cap on, and if you just lightly let it I'm holding it by the cap, and you rotate it gently, you can feel it when you rotate it. It's not much. It kind of feels just like detents. Ding, 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 ding. Which is another kind of fun little tactile thing that you can do with these devices. You can
that's cool.
Detent, right? You can push it forward and it's smooth. You can roll it on your fingers. You can flick it with your thumb. You can hold it and spin the device in either hand. It just gives you options in terms of things that you can do with this simple little tool when you're not using it as a exothermal compound extraction device, right?
A vaporizer?
That was one of those. That was different than the thing you said earlier. That was exothermal
compound extraction device.
Exothermal. Oh, okay, gotcha. For this one, that's cool.
Yeah. Exothermal.
All right.
Isn't it nice being able to use anything that's hot to heat these things up? You ever use a candle?
No, I have.
I ain't got the patience for that shit.
I did it just to make sure it worked, and it did work. Yeah. It did work. It stained my cap a little bit, but it wiped off.
Yeah. Campfires are really nice too. If you're sitting around the campfire, just grab the stick out of the campfire and you can basically hold it on the cherry on the stick. It might take 20, 30 seconds, but then it'll heat up and it'll click.
Have you seen the solar power place outside of Vegas? It's actually in California, but the one with all the mirrors.
No. That would probably heat it up as well.
Can you imagine that? It's like, boo, click. Probably melt it off immediately.
Right.
That's right.
You pull your arm back down, and it's a little bit shorter than it used to be.
Yeah. Yeah, that thing, like, fries birds. Like, when birds fly too close to it, they just, like, poof. Gone.
Yeah, that's kind of suck. You think about it with all those mirrors reflecting that sun to that one, central collection point.
Probably gets confusing.
The intensity of, thousands of suns.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be kind of like flying too close to the sun. Kind of melt your wings, right?
It'd be like being a bird and flying on DMT or some shit like that.
Yeah, and then the next thing you know, you are seeing God.
It's all connected. It's all connected somehow.
When the fuck are you, man?
Yeah, George.
I am 6 days into quarantine. That's about when I am.
Fixated on that, right on, man. I agree. Halfway through, huh?
It's something like that. I don't know if they'll let me out early for good behavior or not.
Well, it's self-quarantine, right? So you're kind of in with the warden?
Yeah. He's been properly compensated.
Yourself, I love it, dude. That's great. So you said something like, you said annular. Were you talking about annular airflow?
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know what that is. Help me out.
Oh, that's another fun term. So if you've ever been around a tree that's been cut down and you look at the rings,
yeah,
they're referred to as annular because it's a ring that grows every year that the tree grows. So it's a ring that forms around an annulus. Right? So concentric rings are also referred to as annular.
All right. So far, I'm with you.
Yeah. And so now that we don't have to squeeze the caps to make them hold on to position and they're just nice and loose, the airflow space around the cap is much more consistent.
Why is that?
Because we don't have to squish the cap and make it oblong in order for it to hold on to the tip with friction. We've got our little detents that we emboss into the cap to keep it captive.
All right, but then don't you fuck all that up with the way you do the cap? I mean, the tip, the shape.
No, because the detents are below the largest diameter portion of the tip. Mm-hmm. So the space between that point that the detents more or less grab against on the back side of the chamber, they're above any point of restriction on the cap. So we're going to get a relatively even distribution of airflow between the cap and the tip when you're dropping the air pressure from this end of the device.
So it's pretty much just going to rush all straight through it.
And it's going to meander, it's going to tumble, it's going to do all kinds of various different things. And if we leave the airports kind of open, you're just going to get a relatively slow, consistent flow of air going across that hot tip underneath the cap, getting preheated to a temperature that helps keep the material inside warm and just displace the vapor so it can enter the condenser along with all that highly turbulent airflow between the outside of the condenser and the inside of the condenser. Hands on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love taking things apart.
That's your folks loved you.
What did you take apart?
Well, back then it was anything that I had the tools or the access to take apart. So a lot of electronic things. It was a big challenge of mine to take things apart in such a manner that I could put them back together. And cutting wires was not allowed. Breaking the plastic, we wanted to avoid it at all costs. You want to just disassemble. And if it wasn't broken to begin with, then we try and reassemble it and see if we can get it to work. There's a few times where the reassembly procedure took substantially longer than the disassembly procedure. And there was multiple, call it partial redisassemblies in the process of the final reassembly.
What was your biggest fuck up?
Oh man, now you got me thinking. I definitely fried a few things.
Yeah.
I learned early on that it was really important to unplug things when you're doing surgery.
How many times have you been shocked?
Got to be a few dozen. Never anything serious. But I do remember some of the most annoying shocks came from this light switch that was in the garage that was placed up high. So you had to be able to reach up at least 6 feet up to turn on the light switch, which apparently made it okay to not put a cover on the light switch. And it was one of these old light switches that had the screw terminals like on the front. So if you reached up to turn on the lights or turn off the lights without very carefully looking at the light switch, and your finger happened to be a little bit too high or too low, you were reminded that you were a little bit too high or too low.
Not so
gently. It's just one of those things. We don't want to be too high, and we don't want to be too low.
That's my daily agenda.
Turn on the light.
Early lessons in life right there, man.
I remember taking apart a disposable camera as a child and learned very quickly how much voltage or amperage or juice or whatever is in those little battery capacitor things.
Oh, you got to play with the capacitor. Did that wake you up?
Wow, I've never felt anything. Like I've been stunned by police guns, like the police stun guns before. And the digital, the little disposable camera hurt me so much more than the policeman's stun gun.
Was that a voluntary stun gun?
Yeah, it was a voluntary. Well, yeah.
I'm not so sure anymore.
Some people who were watching were very confused, but it was. I was intentionally pushing my limits, and I knew that the police officer was still being friendly with me to an extent.
So this wasn't a demonstration.
I also got breathalyzered, but it was a different era. But yeah,
that was voluntary too. Yeah, I know what I was doing.
But yeah, the little disposable camera. I don't know how those things work or what they do with the voltage or amperage, but man, that thing made a whistling sound like, and then bam, like hurt me. Like my arm was numb for like hours.
Oh man, I can only imagine. Those capacitors, they can be downright deadly because they can release so much energy so fast. There's a few things in electronics that just make me really uncomfortable, and capacitor banks are one of them. Batteries, yeah, I can deal with them. Even semi-high voltage AC. After a while, you kind of learn what to do, what not to do, and what to stay away from. But those capacitors, just holding anything anywhere near them just makes me nervous.
Yeah. At one point I had some capacitors installed in my car for stereo, and the guy who installed them told me, he's like, don't ever like mess with these things. Like don't ever touch the wires. Don't mess with them. Don't even uninstall them. He's like, bring them back here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it's really cool what you can do with capacitors, though. When you take a large capacitor and you discharge it through a coil of wire that has literally one turn, you can create a massive electromagnetic field. You're kind of like one pulsation of an induction heater. But the stuff that you see people do with these, what they call them, quarter shrinkers, is you can literally place a quarter inside this one turn of wire. You discharge this large capacitor bank through it, and boom, the quarter literally shrinks.
Permanently?
Permanently.
I want one.
Yeah, just look it up on YouTube, quarter shrinker. It's pretty awesome. And you
it's
hit
legit?
It a couple times. What's that?
It's legit? It's not bullshit?
Yeah, it just continues to get thicker and smaller in diameter.
Oh, so it really redistributes the metal is what it does.
It just redistributes it, but it redistributes it just with an electromagnetic field, so there's no physical contact at all. And so it's crazy. You can reduce the diameter of a quarter by like 50%, and you can still read everything that used to be on there. It's just now a lot thicker than it used to be.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, it's awesome. But that's the power of a capacitor, you know, for a high-speed discharge of a rather large number of electrons.
It's fascinating.
That's fucked up.
So it's like a one of those nail head, bolt head cutters, but on steroids, or just tuned a different way.
Well, it's an electromagnetic version, right? No physical contact at all. It just like your induction heater, you know, is heating up the extraction chamber without physically touching it. It's just the oscillating electromagnetic field is making it hot. Well, that's what these devices do. They just have one really massive electromagnetic field.
You've shown off some pretty badass induction heaters over the years, George. What's the status right now on what you have available?
You know, the biggest thing with the induction heaters at this point is more than anything, just availability of the individual components to make them. Because something surprised me. I found out that there's actually a relatively limited number of certain electronic components in the supply chain globally. So if you wanted to make, say, 10,000 induction heaters, you might be able to source 90% of the components for the board. But the other 10% or so, you may run into shortages because they're not common components. So a lot of the supply houses only stock a relatively small number of these devices, because if someone's going to make 100,000 things, they're not going to buy from a typical supply house. They're going to secure their own supply chain direct from the manufacturer and order 10,000 of everything that they're going to need, or 100,000 of everything they're going to need. So kind of like going to the grocery store and trying to buy, you know, 1,000 gallons of milk. You wouldn't do that. You'd go to a little bit further up the supply chain and buy direct above where the grocery store is at. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We're kind of in this intermediate scale area where trying to scale things up, trying to buy enough components, trying to make enough devices, but not so many that if they start to have issues, that we don't have a huge number of problems.
Mm-hmm. So, any particular component that's fucking up, or there are a couple of them that are hard to get, or
It's mainly been it hasn't been a mess up so much as it's been an availability issue.
Yeah. I talked to an engineer a good year and a half ago that said that his buddies told him they were having those kind of parts problems with very common items like capacitors and shit like that. Like dude, we were going to have some serious basic electronic problems if we didn't get that supply fixed up like you're talking about.
Yep.
And then I've heard of some others as well, but you're right that you can, if you don't design it right, you could design yourself out of being able to produce something just based on parts availability.
You know, although it's really appealing to, you know, have thousands and thousands of these things made up and on the shelves just so we can sell them as fast as people want to buy them. It just doesn't work, and it's not comfortable to think that, okay, we're gonna make a whole bunch of these, and we're gonna feel comfortable that they're all good and they're right. How about we make a smaller number and we initially send them out to beta testers that understand that these are beta units. We make sure that they work well and just leave them out there for a good month or two to marinate in the real world, to kind of expose some of the problems, and then make some revisions if necessary. And if things work good, then awesome. Then we'll make up a significantly larger batch, but not a huge batch, and do the same thing and give it a little while just to make sure there's not issues. Now we got more of a tried and true design that we can feel more comfortable scaling. And so these are the things that make it a lot easier for me to understand why a lot of the electronic vaporizers that are in the market don't tend to get changed or updated very regularly, because it's a really difficult, time-consuming, and intensive thing to do.
Got to think it all the way through, even down just the supply of capacitors and parts, man.
In testing. And that's one of the, I think, really convenient things for us at Dynavap is, since our devices don't have any electronic components, all we really need to worry about is just functionality testing. I like it. Everyone's mute.
Sorry, I was...
Yeah, I didn't know how loud this torch was going to be. It's not bad. I can roll with it.
It sounds like an airplane ride.
I was handling some of your testing for you.
Yeah?
Right on.
Nice. So, either you guys stuck in quarantine, or you just out and about hitting all the local parties and clubs?
No, I'm staying at home. My kids at home. School's canceled. My wife and I both work from home anyway, but now it's just extra stay at home.
Oh, so now your kids working from home too?
Yep.
Yeah,
Same here.
Same for me.
I work from home, so for me, it's nothing. I mean, it's normal, as long as, I mean, I'm not going to go out for as much food as I used to, and hopefully I'll be able to still get stuff at the grocery store every other day. We'll see how long that goes. Are any of you guys unable to get food at this point, or is there still, if you went, you could get something for the day?
For me, it's like I'd be able to find something, but I don't know what it's going to be. Like there's plenty of Doritos and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Pastas and
cat
meats.
Food, so.
What's that?
I said I've got plenty of cat food, so.
I loaded up on cat supplies too, man. I was like, dude, people are running out buying toilet paper. I'm like, kitty litter for this kid. I'd rather wipe my own butt than deal with what they do without kitty litter.
You know, worst case scenario, we can just bathe. You know, at least, because if we run out of water, you know, we're gonna have more problems than wiping our butt.
Yeah.
Totally, man. Yeah, I just went out and got what I thought would get me through a little bit of, I don't want to go out because there's disease out there time, you know, when you want to hunker down for a little bit. But I don't think I got enough for weeks and weeks. So, you know, I think a lot of people are going to end up like me, where they're counting on the supply chain at least dribbling through at a minimum. You know what I'm saying?
Well, but I don't think it even has to dribble through at a minimum, because right now, again, just trying to look at things from a positive perspective. What are we really doing? We're testing out a whole lot of systems. We're testing out our supply chain. We're testing out our we'll call it consumable goods infrastructure, because we've got a whole bunch of people that are hoarding. They're buying not just a week's worth of supplies or even 2 weeks worth of supplies, but you got a few inconsiderate people that are buying months worth of supplies. You know, and I don't quite understand why. And I really don't like the approach, because what are they doing? They're creating a perceived shortage when there really isn't one, which then when you compound that on top of the fact that a lot of people actually watch the news, which I feel sorry for that, because the news should be avoided at all costs, in my opinion. You know, they're just trying to spread panic. And yeah, we've got a situation on our hands where people are going to get sick, but the reality is it's not a lot worse than the flu. And the only reason why we're taking the measures that we are, you know, globally, is just so that the healthcare systems in a lot of our countries can handle the number of people that are going to get sick. So let's just be considerate of each other. Yeah, buy up a week, 2 weeks worth of stuff, but you don't need to buy 2 months worth of stuff. You just don't. And in that way, there'll be plenty for everyone to go around. The stores will continue to restock, and it'll be okay.
I still find it fascinating that it all started with toilet paper.
Well, I find that tremendously interesting, because out of all the things to be concerned about, really?
I think we were told to do it.
You know, but
I think early on in all of this, I remember somebody talking about there'll be a shortage on toilet paper at blah, blah, blah. And then sure shit, we all ran out and bought toilet paper. Like I remember some kind of a warning about it.
It's the toilet paper companies that are responsible for the panic.
Probably
You
some.
know, we've got this overabundance of toilet paper because everyone's been using wet wipes recently.
Heiny clean ass.
Let's create this incentive for everyone to buy as much toilet paper as possible. It'll be great for our facilities. It'll be great for our stock prices.
Literally one of the worst things that you can buy in bulk. It takes up so much fucking space. It's ridiculous, man. You can fill up a room with that shit.
And I noticed nobody was stockpiling the wet wipes, the flushable wipes. Those were plenty. Like those were like shelves were filled.
By the time I got there, the toilet paper was out. Those things were out.
Oh, really?
On day 2, I ran into where there were some that just happened to be there at the right time, and I grabbed a couple. My first wipe of my life. My first wet wipe ever, by the way. I like
Congrats.
That's great.
Life-changing.
What the fuck have I been doing for 50 years, man?
I have a 15-year-old, and I think she was like a toddler when those things were first like really getting popular.
Right.
Like, now flushable, and it's like, wait, these aren't just for kids anymore.
Those are built for me, motherfucker. Bring them on. That's great. Oh man, I don't know. It's nuts, dude. But I do remember early on, I thought I heard somebody on the airwaves just kind of mention that will happen, and so maybe they put it in our heads.
I'm sure that's a big part of it. Yeah.
That was probably just the first social test. Let's see what these guys do.
Yeah, I think there's a lot going on there. But anyway, I don't know about you, but I'm comfortable in my house. I've got water to drink. I've got food to eat. And I've got, I think also kind of like you guys, more vaporizers than I could probably ever utilize.
Yep.
All day long, man.
Yep.
I like to give this thing like a triple shotgun, maybe and then I blend in and then I blend into a half open.
Right. It's even more fun when you got the music cranked and you can kind of play it along with the beat.
I got to find a good song for my own little method here, man. That's a good point. And then every time I could turn that song on when I'm Dynavapping.
Yeah.
Find your Dynavap song, guys. Find your what's your Dynavap song?
Yeah, what's your Dyna song, right?
Yeah, there we go. What's your Dyna song?
With the new
music that helps get you to that place.
With the new captive cap, you could have Dynavap drumsticks. You not have to worry about your cap flying off.
You know what?
Totally. Do they make noise like cymbals when you rattle them? Yeah, I got the mic in the right place, don't I? You gonna hear that shit.
Got opposing caps.
Mine's fucked up a little bit. I bent mine, so.
Oh, I think they make kind of a nice, satisfying but not annoying rattle.
A little bit.
I liked. I took the captive cap and put it on my 19M.
Did it fit?
Yeah, it fit fine, and I mean, it didn't really stay on. You know, it'll just kind of fall off because it doesn't have that ridge you were talking about.
Right.
But the captive cap that I used most of the time, because I think it was the first one I had that I bent out of shape. That one stayed on pretty good, and I found that the little notch, you know how you like to fidget, it's kind of fun to just sit there and kind of twist it up and down, you know, like twist it off back and forth, following the groove. Yeah. It's kind of fun, man.
You know, that's what makes the tools, I think, more desirable when you can do more than one thing.
Multitaskers.
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's something that I like to aim for when I'm in design stage, and that's, is it possible to take every component, or any component for that matter, of a device and change its shapes so that it's capable of performing at least two functions? One is great, but when you got, you know, individual components can do more than one function, it's really kind of nice. And I don't know if you guys have, you know, had a chance to play with the packaging yet or not, but that was a big part of the goal with the design of the packaging, is to create a package that we could package our stuff in, we could ship it in, you could set it on a shelf for display, and when a person receives it, they can open it up. Oh, that's cool. They can take it out, use it, put it back in hot, stick it back in your pocket. You got a carrying case that should last you weeks.
I thought you were gonna drop something on us like, you can stick the cap in this little slot right here and set it down on the ground, and it's a sundial. You can tell what time it is.
That's right, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, now look at his gears are turning.
Yeah,
he's like,
maybe the next generation.
That's right. It's also a mini Tesla coil. We need some way to put it on a lanyard. Need some little thing on here so that I can hook it onto my lanyard. Just kind of always. The lanyard vap.
You know, it wouldn't be that hard to
cap.
punch a little hole in here and just hang it down. You know, it is cardboard.
That's no. I was thinking the actual the vaporizer itself, not the packaging. I was thinking put a little hook on it or something so that I could just. But that's kind of lame. I like the idea of putting the packaging on there. That's better.
Yeah, well, that way you don't have to worry about burning your chest hairs.
Yeah, that's right. You don't fuck with your vap cap. Oh, you just went over 411 noise.
Switching to the Mighty. I've been vaping on the Dynavap. I vaped on it almost exclusively over the weekend.
Wow. They're like 2-3 cycles
Per bowl.
Is that right? On the Mighty?
What?
Are we talking about the Mighty or the vap cap?
If we're talking about you.
Yeah. not
Jerry,
me,
when
man.
are
Not
you
that
right now?
involved. I don't think I'm that far away from now.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure exactly where, but it
It
feels
kind of feels like you're still back in Jerry-wary.
January. Yeah, we were together in January, weren't we? It feels like that, doesn't it?
It does.
It does have a January feel to it.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Well, hot damn, man. So what's next? I mean, you got this coming out. You're thinking about a whole new lineup, or just fucking with the Omni, or I mean, I know you got something going on.
Are there
You always got
Omni
something
changes
going on.
coming?
I sure hope so. You know, it's been on the short list of things to get done, but doggone it. You know, redesigning things is, even with all the new CNC equipment, it's becoming a bit more challenging because, you know, every time we redesign the product, it becomes harder to find things that we can improve upon. Doesn't mean we don't want to take on the challenge, but it just becomes a bit more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, the last 2 years you've crushed it. The 19 was a huge improvement over the 18 in performance. This, I think, is a huge addition of features. You've got a lot of extra features on this. I know you say it's hard, and I know it is, but you're knocking it out of the park, motherfucker. It's been great these last few years. It's been really fun. You're killing it.
I'm just hoping we can continue because, you know, there's nothing I'd rather be doing than this.
Yeah.
It really sums up kind of a dream thing to be doing with one's time.
Right on. Okay, I got a question. These cuts in the edge of the tip that you got here, they're not going to show up on this things on my focus, but you know what I'm talking about. You started cutting into these things here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you landed on a final answer here? Because I know the first time I saw you kind of dicking around with them was with the Hydrovong.
Yep.
And you had the big dimple and a couple little side dimples. And now we've actually just got 2 almost full dimples here. Are we still playing, or do you feel like you found the best one?
Oh no, we're still playing.
Okay.
And you know, it's just one of those things that we can arrange them in a wide array of different arrangements
Mm-hmm.
and still get, I think, similar effects. So we just need to find one that kind of works with the geometry of the other attributes of the tip and the stem. So it just looks like it goes together. And that's something that I'm hoping I'll be able to share a little bit more with you guys, because it looks like I might have actually got Jason feeling like he's okay with coming on a video broadcast so we can talk about some of the magic that he performs on some of the CNC equipment.
That'd be dope.
I'm really hoping that he'll pick out a couple of his favorite iterations of the 2020M that we went through, because it was pretty comfortably over 100 different iterations on stem geometry.
Wow.
Oh yeah,
Like physical made.
absolutely. Because we do things a lot differently than I think most companies do with their devices, where we don't come up with a new device in CAD, maybe 3D print a couple, make a few modifications. Yep, that's the one, start producing. I'll figure out how to make it. We do kind of the opposite way, where, and when I say we, I'm primarily talking about Jason, because he's really learned the ins and outs of how to program these CNC machines in a very adept and almost amazing way. And we just started with the 2019 stem and some new tooling that he had this idea, this concept for using a new tool in a different way, because we've been talking about this geometry for a while. He figured out a way to do it, made up the tool so we could do it, threw it in the machine, and we started making geometries. And I was like, well, that one looks good. Why don't you throw that one on there? And so we write the code, we'll make a part. That looks really awesome. But let's speed it up. Let's slow it down. Let's move it in, move it out, change this, change that, make another part. And so we're literally manufacturing iteration after iteration. And so we have physical things in our hand that we can not only see, but we can touch, we can feel. It just doesn't feel right, you know. You've got to change it. Or that geometry is really cool, and so is that one, but the two clash with each other, so we can't use them next to each other. We need to come up with a different way to do it.
How long does it take you to go through that process? Then now that you've done it, several times.
It took longer this time than any other product, and I'm going to venture to say than every other product that we've designed and iterated to date. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of hours in iteration, in refinement, in prototyping, in testing and beta testing to do our damnedest to make sure that this 2020M was as close to we can get as the best version of the M that we're currently capable of manufacturing today. We didn't want to hold anything back that we could realistically throw in here. And that's why you see all these new changes, these upgrades, you know, the captive cap, the taper on the mouthpiece, the chiral air ports, the faceted on the tip, the more intense geometry for the grip, all of these different things. I don't know if you guys have taken your device apart and cleaned it yet or not, but we also changed the inside where the O-ring at the mouthpiece end sits, so that when you push the condenser back in, it kind of snaps into place, and it doesn't like to push beyond that point, so it stays where it's supposed to be a lot better.
That's my favorite change that I didn't mention in my video.
Yeah, Troy liked that one, man. There you go. So you can see what I'm saying there. You're really getting similar in terms of just the way you're going after cuts and faceting, and I absolutely love it.
Everything we can do. And, I don't think we're going to run out of things that we can do, because I can tell you, when we made the first M, it was the coolest thing we'd ever made. And
right.
When the second one came out, it's like, wow, that's so much better than the first one. What are we ever going to do for next year?
That's what I was worried about.
Oh, and then it got better. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
So when do you start for the 2021?
Yesterday.
Yeah, if he's doing 100 fucking prototypes between now and when it comes out, he starts as soon as you're done getting this one finished, aren't you?
Yeah, pretty much. It's just one of those crazy things that it's really hard to visualize, and it's even difficult for me, even though I live in it most days, that in order to be releasing 2 or 3 interesting things, whether it's a new product or an update every year, the reality is you might have to have 5 or 6 things in development simultaneously all the time, because development doesn't happen in a day. And then you end up with hitting roadblocks or an impasse. Oh, that's not going to work. How are we going to solve that problem? It might take a week, 2 weeks, a month to figure out a solution to it. So in order to keep things interesting and fresh, we just have to be working on a wide range of different things. And on top of that, to keep things more interesting, we're trying to scale up our operations so we can make more things and put more machines on the floor and automate the processes and increase the consistency from product to product and save time putting them together and speed up the fulfillment process and make sure that we're taking care of our customers. You send out more packages, even if you maintain your quality at exactly the same level, the number of customer service issues you're going to have goes up.
I thought the color options that you brought in with the 2019, with the gold and the rosium, and the phantom, I thought they were fantastic, and I hope you bring them back for the 2020. But I want to. Do you think that those colors had any impact on the marketability of your product for female vaporizer users?
I would hope so, because that's a demographic that I don't think we've been doing a good job kind of attending to their wants, needs, and desires. And so I'd really like to do a better job of that, moving forward. So I'm hoping that, yes, we can bring back some more interesting, cool, and appealing colors for this year. And considering some of the challenges we had last year, we're already in the process of looking for and trying to determine which colors we're going to go with, which company we're going to use to do them, getting some test batches done like now. So we can be ready and have it all good to go and know and understand what's good, what's not good, and why.
More pink, man. More pink.
Well, that rosium was just
perfect.
It was one of my favorite colors ever.
It was perfectly pink without being pink.
Yeah, it was the good kind of pink, not the gross kind of pink.
Yeah, like I mean, and I've said that as a cliched thing, to other vape companies. Like, you can't just put out a pink vape and say you're making something for women. But man, the pink that you guys came out with was perfect for me.
Looking beautiful.
It's my favorite.
Yeah, I like it.
I want a Rosium Omni. Like, I think that would be.
This is the one I had to call in from the field for this video. So that's the one that gets on loan, is the pink one.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that Rosium.
I hope that we can. And some of the coloration processes that we're using should be compatible, both with stainless steel and titanium. That's another reason why we really kind of like that process, because although there's some amazing makers out there that are doing just some mind-blowing color anodization on the titanium, the one downside is that anodized titanium is, as beautiful as the surface is, it's just not a very durable finish.
Yeah. Speaking of women in the industry, I had the pleasure of meeting Donna from Dynavap, and she got the sesh on the SSV 43, and I want to say that she was amazing, and I think she should be in some Dynavap videos.
All right, well, appreciate that. I'll ask and see if she's interested, because why not? I think the more of our crew that we can get involved and engaged, the better. I think it really helps show off, who we are and what we're all about. That Dynavap is not just about what I do. What I do is just a small part of what's really going on. I'm just fortunate enough to have been there in the beginning and have been able to meet up with enough highly motivated people that are willing to share in this vision. And now we get to work together and collectively do all these really fun, cool things.
I love that. And speaking of other people, aren't you on self-quarantine with Pranav? Is Pranav there? Can we get Pranav to join?
No. You can ask him if he wants to join in. He's at home right now, but let's send him a text. He might want to join in. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah. I thought Pranav was staying there.
No. He had a slight fever a couple days ago. It's subsided since then. So he decided not to come over anymore and run the risk of sharing it.
Pranav, are you watching? Pranav in the chat?
I actually think he was, wasn't he?
How do I see the chat?
On the YouTube channel?
Oh, yeah, you have to go back to your phone is probably the easiest way to.
Okay.
Jerry, we need to get our Troy and Jerry logo finished. We need to.
True that.
All right, Pranav, I'll send you the number.
Nice. That's gonna be fun.
That way we can ask Pranav questions about all the crazy shit that happens working with George.
A crazy Parker.
Oh man.
I like. Where is that? This is the one that I use a lot, George. This is the one you gave me last year at the show with the.
Oh, the Nanavong. Nice.
Yeah. I enjoy this one, man. It's fun.
Yeah.
These M tips.
I like the Nanavongs.
These M tips crush it, man. I love them.
You like on the M tip with the Nonavong body, Jerry Bear?
Did I do that? Actually, I probably left that alone because I really like the airflow on that Nonavong tip, and I respected that paired with a bubbler. I thought it was a really good combo, so I usually leave that on there. But I do like that tip, and I'm pretty sure that was titanium. So
yeah, I think that you said that was your favorite tip when we talked that one time when we did the massive Dynavap video.
The M tip?
No, the Nonavong because of the big chunky serrations.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That and the M are my favorites for different reasons. Like the M I like for a totally different reason, but I love those cuts in that thing were great. I think the cuts in this year's M are probably real similar in terms of effectiveness. Actually, George, I think for the most part, the way you've got this now, airflow at this point is restricted by the pack. I mean, that's probably where the bottleneck is because you've really opened it up in so many different places. You've done a great job with it.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to really be able to push that boundary much further because
Yeah.
if there's too much airflow through the cap, it just cools off everything so fast that you're not going to get, I think, the kind of results that you're really looking for.
Right.
Because if you think about it, we can call these exothermal, exothermal extraction devices, or we can also call them, latent heat devices, or
A what?
latent heat, just
Latent heat. That's great.
or maybe thermal momentum. Hey, Pranav.
What's up, Pranav?
Nice.
Nice to see you guys.
How's it going, bud?
Hey.
Awesome. Was just watching the stream. It was nice. You guys have a good chemistry.
Well, it just got better.
I was just about to say, man, wait a minute.
Thanks for having me.
Great to come on in, man.
What you drinking, Pranav? Doesn't look like tea.
No, it's just H2O.
Oh,
Very good.
Is that chiral?
That's right. The first question of the night for everybody. Chiral. Is it chiral? Are you chiral?
Hey, somebody was asking in the chat, James Stewart, I believe, if you have a digital, I guess a digital idea isn't necessarily an idea, like a digital idea of the airflow before you make the device, like through all those channels. Like, do you simulate all of those as well?
No, not really. Mentally, maybe, but digitally, no. We're really backwards at Dynavap, where we actually make the product and then we design it. Instead of designing it and then making it.
That's cool.
Another fun way to think about it is if you're going to come up with a design and you wanted to get machined out of metal, for example, you have to design it. You have to create a print for machining, and then you take it to the machinist, and then they make that part to your print. Where we do it at Dynavap is we make the part on the machine first, and then we send it over to the automation department, and people like Austin and Pranav and Drew try their hand at trying to draw the thing that we made instead of trying to make the thing that we drew.
That's hilarious.
It's also time consuming, like even the simulations, setting everything up. And if you have like 100 prototypes, it's not happening.
Yeah, I bet.
Wow.
I bet.
But there's some huge advantages that come with doing things this way, because by the time we have something that comes out of the machine that we like, well, we've already proven that it's manufacturable because we just made it. Like, yeah.
How'd you come up with the design for the Dyna Coil, man? That's a funky answer.
Oh, man.
Funky solution to a problem.
That was one of the coolest things. And it took me like a year longer than I wanted to get the damn thing done. But a big part of it was just delays from the company that was doing some of the processing for me. Just taking, instead of usually taking like a week to 2 weeks, sometimes they're taking like 6, 8, 12 weeks. Doggone it, come on, I want to get this out. So a product that was supposed to be launched in the fall of, I think it was 2018, didn't end up launching until February of 2019, just because of delays. But I was thinking about it from the perspective that, the one thing that people weren't really using our devices for was, meltable concentrate. And I was like, the few that were using things like hemp fiber and, cotton and all kinds of other things that, although they worked, it just didn't seem like it was a good material for the task. And wanted to come up with something that was going to be a little bit more flavor inert and durable, so that you could use it, you could clean it, and you could set up a device as more or less a dedicated concentrate device. Because I really do think that, you can put a Dyna coil in a device, especially like the 2020M with a little extra mass in that stainless tip. Use it for concentrates a few times, and then when it's starting to taste a little bit off, well, you just take the tip off, drop it in some cleaning solution or solvent. It won't hurt a thing. Just let it soak, rinse it out, and be done with it. So cleanup becomes super easy.
Yeah, because it's just titanium, right?
Just titanium. Oh, nice.
Remember that?
Yeah.
That was from the same night. So this, you just take this and roll it up, and there's your Dyna coil.
Take that and roll it up.
It's like a little saw blade.
Yep.
That's what you did. You went out and you got a reciprocated saw blade and said, I'll wrap that sucker up and throw some extract on it, and let's go to town. Is that how it came about? I mean, how did you come up with this? This is funky. I love it.
Well, the whole idea was to create as much surface area on that piece as possible so we can hold those liquids in place, as well as a large number of apertures so that as those liquids are evaporating and boiling, that the vapor has someplace to go. Did you see that, Pranav?
I think the first couple prototypes.
Photogrammetry? Is that a website?
What is it?
From Session Create. It says pull the model from photogrammetry.
Oh, so like since I've like joined the Zoom conference, I can't see the comments on YouTube because I'm on my phone.
Oh, well then pull up YouTube on your computer.
Yeah, I'll have to set that up. I didn't realize this was. But the initial prototypes, I don't think they had the sawtooth, did they, on the concentrates? They weren't tapered downwards.
It depends on which one we're talking about. So, previous version definitely did. The one before that, I'm trying to think if it did. Oh man, now you got me really thinking. No. The first one did not, because it had a protrusion right in the very center that would come up. Because the thought was that you'd want to grab that to pull the thing out, and that didn't work out as good as I thought it would.
Why didn't you just go with a stainless steel mesh like everybody else and get a little pad made for it?
Because that's what everybody else does.
That's a good reason.
Well,
I love that. That's the answer. That's fucking awesome.
I thought about it, but I was like, wait a minute. Why would I do the same thing that everyone else is doing? That's the simple, it's the easy way out. It's just wire pressed into a die and compressed. It doesn't give you a whole lot of really anything interesting or unique, and it's just not appealing. The goal for the products that we make is not only to make them functional, but to make them nice to look at, to make them appealing, and also to make them look like someone took a little bit of time and effort to think it through and make them as practical and capable of doing their task as possible.
Cool.
Right? I mean, you think about it. If you're given the choice to make a product that works well or a product that works just as good, potentially slightly better, but looks much nicer, but it's going to take 50% more effort and preparation, is it worth it? In my opinion, it is. Especially if you're going to be duplicating these sorts of things, hundreds, thousands, hopefully more than tens of thousands of times. Make cool looking products. We're known for who we are and what we do and what we create.
Do you follow battery technology at all?
Only a little bit.
Okay.
When did you have something in mind?
No, I was actually hoping that you would know something about the newer battery technologies that are on the horizon. And
there's some cool stuff coming, as we get into the nanotechnology and the ability to make all these microscopic structures, and they're getting better at creating graphene in specific geometries. So there's gonna be some really cool stuff coming, that's for sure. There's just no doubt in my mind. I mean, just to think about what a battery's done just in the last 5 years. I mean, they're already substantially better than what they were 5 years ago.
Right.
But if you throw a bunch of 18650s in your pocket full of change, you still might have problems. And that's not the battery's fault.
Right. When I buy them, they always come with stickers like this is vape, this battery is not for vapes. It's like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Right.
Wrong.
Well, the problem is, I don't know why they just keep putting all this plastic wrap on the batteries. It's annoying and it gets in the way. You got to peel all that stuff off. Or maybe that's a bad idea.
Well, it tears so easily that you have to end up replacing it all the time.
Right. And, it's just kind of a funny thing. We're taking this battery and we're just putting this really thin, weak layer of plastic on it and hoping that's going to be enough. Well,
right.
It is enough if you put your batteries in a device and they don't come out. But, when you have people taking what are generally referred to as non-user serviceable cells and putting them in and taking them out of a device repeatedly, daily, inevitably things get damaged. And that's where a lot of these problems are coming from.
Man, you got all technically correct. You call them cells and everything. They're not. Yeah, the 18650 isn't technically a battery. It's a cell, right?
Right. It's one component of a battery.
Yeah.
So
that's a lot of battery talk from a Dynavap guy. I like that.
And, and I don't want anyone to think that I'm against batteries. That's definitely not the case. In fact, I'm hopeful that we're going to have battery-powered induction heaters in the not too distant future. But on the other hand, I also think it's really important that as Dynavap, as a manufacturer of battery-free devices, that we maintain our devices in a separate type of format, to where the device is going to, for the foreseeable future, remain independent of the heat source and the control. I think it's really, really good to have the heat source and the control be under the control of the operator of the device. Use whatever heat source you got, control it however you see fit, and make the device yield to your desires.
The vape is at your command.
The vape is, it's your tool. You use it correctly. Be careful how you use the power.
Pranav, what's your favorite VapCap M so far over the years?
Just the M?
Or
I would.
Or you can expand.
VapCap, probably so far the Hydrobong. I was always a fan of the woodies and the ability to run it through a water piece.
Mm-hmm.
And now that the M has that, I just need to find a water piece with a 14 mm. I mean, a 10 mm. So that might change, but so far it's been the Hydrobong.
Nice.
Yeah. And I'd also like to add that I really like to fidget with these devices, like especially when it's in my pocket. And the texture of the Hydrobong so far has been the most satisfying to me personally, which is why.
You like to twist it or slide up and down? Like, I mean, what do you?
Usually I just like roll. Especially like the intersection between the tip and the body, like that section's really satisfying.
Oh, yeah.
But twist, roll, you name it.
That's neat.
The Hydrobong
is sharing that.
It's a nice finger massage.
Yeah, no shit. It's funny, man. I love seeing what people come up with as far as a way to fidget with their vapes. Because I mean, that's when I know I really like a vape, is when I just start playing with it with my hands. I just notice that I'm fidgeting with it. That typically only happens with something that I enjoy vaping with.
Yeah. Well, I know George knows that people like to fidget because he built some special secretive vapes that are centered around fidgeters. I'm scared of for him to ever put those out.
Well, I love how much he put into these. That's awesome.
Soon.
Zoom in on this one, Troy.
Is this the new Dyna Coil?
No, this is one of the previous versions.
Oh, okay.
So, if it's going to focus.
Oh, yeah, different cuts.
Different cuts. Still has the serrations on the top. So, this was the second iteration.
The second one, huh?
Yep. I don't know if I've got any of the... Second iteration actually had two flavors. I wasn't sure which one was going to work better. This was the other one.
Ooh. Different shape too. So that's where you're trying to get it to have a hole in the middle?
Well, it actually a raised protrusion in the middle, but this one also had, you know, the sawtooth pattern on it. So
a raised protrusion, a little bit of a moat. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
What's
How'd
really
that work
cool
out?
is if you just look at my collar, you can see right through the thing.
Yeah.
And just some interesting patterns in terms of how the light reflects off of it. And also kind of fun, you know, we've got this geometry here that allows for this little tab on the end to click in and hold the whole thing into a nice coil shape. So, yeah, those are
cool.
yeah. I'm gonna have to check. Those might actually be first round. Yeah, those are first round ones because I made some mistakes on these first ones. So this part here is full material thickness, and I was thinking I was gonna be able to roll all this up until we get to here, and then bend all this around and just click it together. And this material is really thick, and it didn't bend nearly as easy as the perforated part did. And also, if we notice that these little chevron-shaped pieces, they go from a sharper angle to a less sharp angle. As you roll these things, the intent was slightly different than what ended up happening. They didn't roll real nice, but then again, we didn't have a Dyna Coiler 2000 at that point either. Which now that we have that, which is a really cool piece that Mark, one of our automation guys, put together. He did it really quick. That was a really cool time. If you remember, right, Pranav? And we
Yes.
think, okay, we got to figure out a way to coil these things up. And
you did it pretty quick, yeah.
It took a discussion over the course of 30 to 45 minutes to come up with a preliminary design for how we're going to do it. And then I'd say over the course of about a week and a half, a lot of the components are ordered, and it was just over 2 weeks, and we had this thing done, and it was super cool. You just slide the coil in and push the button, and it's
and then it drops it down.
And you push the button, and it would release and then drop it down. You feed in the next one.
Fuck yeah, that's cool.
Oh yeah.
It was really a fun time because Mark used to bring us beer from Octopi every Thursday.
Oh yeah. Yep. Back in the days when he was Brewmeister Mark, right?
Oh. Yeah, you guys are in Wisconsin. Beer is pretty popular in Wisconsin.
Oh yeah, there's lots of beer. Lots of beer.
How big is that Coil Maker 2000 machine? Desktop size?
Yeah, desktop, probably.
All right.
I'd say it's more about laptop size.
There you go. Yeah, we're on the same page. I like that.
It's not that big, you know. It's got 3 air cylinders, some bearings, and I think Mark even upgraded it with a PLC, so you could actually put in ladder logic to make this thing do all kinds of cool things.
You're having all kinds of fun with it.
There's something in the chat for George. I'm not sure if I can make sense of it, so I'm just going to read it word for word. Question for George: can you implement a similar feature to the squeeze charge torch? Some sort of pull or push action to heat the cap.
Squeeze charge torch. I don't know if I quite understand. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit more. Squeeze charge torch is not something I'm completely familiar with.
There was another question. Have you thought about making a larger and wider tip with the same size body?
Definitely thought about it, but the conclusion that keep coming to each time is that from a thermodynamics perspective, it's rather challenging, especially when we're talking about a residual heat device. Okay, you know, we need to heat these things up to a high enough temperature that we can initiate the vaporization process, And then we need to be able to pull from that energy reserve during the process of extraction. And once we get beyond a certain diameter, things just start to get a little bit more challenging to maintain what I would refer to as an acceptable thermal gradient across the material in your chamber. So I'm not saying it's not doable, but at the same time, I also encourage people, especially with these new 2020 M's, to try pushing their screen into the small position. And even if you're someone that has a relatively high tolerance, you might find that you actually like it there, because now you're going to get 1, 2, maybe 3 heat cycles on it before you've extracted everything that you really want out of that material. And then you're dumping it out and you're loading in something that's fresh and tasty again, versus a larger chamber. Now it's going to take 3, 4, 5 or more heat cycles. And by the time you're getting past the third one, the flavor, I think the nicest way to say it is, it isn't the same as it was in the beginning.
All right. So what's the master's trick because Troy and I talked the other night, neither one of us is any good at adjusting these screens. So how do we get it to stay in that position easily?
Have you tried in the 2020? Because tried really hard to adjust the geometry on the 2020 M tips to make them easier to reposition the screen than the titanium tips, which the concept really liked it, but it was just really hard to reposition that titanium screen. So it's something else that I'm working on.
All right. Well, I've got it right now. The 2020M. So I just push up on it real slowly.
Right. I'd recommend that you use the condenser.
All right.
Not that you can't use anything else, but one of the key things is, since the condenser is a tube, it pushes up around its diameter versus up directly in the middle. So it makes the screen less likely to pivot as you're pushing it up.
Ooh, okay. Maybe not bow out and divot and all that shit that I always
You definitely want it to bow out. So first thing first is, in the M tip, it's not such a big deal because you only have basically all the way down and part way up. But you want to push the screen all the way down to the bottom so it can relax, because the groove that the screen sits in at the bottom of the tip is actually a larger diameter than the groove at the halfway point. And then it works real good to just take the condenser, and I'll just kind of do it if you can zoom in.
I've got mine right here too. Yeah, I'm gonna follow along.
Zoom in on the camera, and I'll kind of visually illustrate. Okay, so I can take the cap off and pop the tip off. I'm going to use my cap to pop my condenser out. Okay. Now I can set down the stem, and I'm going to take this, which you can see the screen. I'll try and hold a little bit closer, see if I can get the camera to focus a little bit better. Screen's in the lower position. So now I'm going to stick my condenser in the end. I'm going to put my finger over the end, and I'm going to keep my thumb and my index finger just like this, so I can very carefully push it, and I can almost do it just by feel and by sound. I'm just pushing ever so slowly as I'm just kind of letting it go.
Push it.
And now we're there.
Now, how do you know when it's stopped?
Well,
is it going to stop on right in the groove or just before the groove?
Well, it may look like it stopped right before the groove, but the key is, if you look at it and you can see it's got a little bit of a convex or domed up shape, and you take the condenser and you just lightly push on it. If it doesn't move, you're good to go.
Yeah, I'm in there, man. I'm in there, far fucking out.
Holy shit, man! First try.
Yeah.
Right.
First try.
Right. I'm gonna fucking I'm gonna microdose this shit, like you said.
Try that for a couple days, and I'd be surprised if you don't find that you kind of like it, because now, I go through 2, maybe 3 heat cycles. Yep, good with that one. Dump it out. Go to the next one, and I'm back to Flavor Town again.
Oh yeah, I love Flavor Town. Give me some of that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great advice, George.
Special delivery.
Ooh.
Oh wow, what is that?
I think they were making smoothies upstairs. If you were here, Pranav, you'd be getting one, but no, you had to go and catch some something.
Way to go! Way to go! Flying around, catching bugs.
I have to go to the grocery store tomorrow.
Is there going to be anything there?
I don't know. I hope so.
Go early.
Yeah, I'm gonna I'm gonna go.
Maybe you could take a roll of toilet paper and just kind of like wrap it around the lower part of your face instead of wearing a mask.
If you have toilet paper, take a roll in there and just toss it down an aisle and watch people go for it while you get stuff off the shelves that you want.
That's funny.
That's what I would do, but I don't know. Are there any restrictions where you are, Troy, or is it what's going on? I mean, I consider you to be more on the front lines than me. You're on the West Coast. I'm on the East.
All dining rooms are forced closed.
So you really can only go out for like drugstores and groceries.
Yeah. But they haven't like said like you can't be out yet.
But that's all there is to do.
Right.
And they won't let you get in gatherings. They already said no gatherings. So pretty much kind of, yeah, that's all you're going to do. So,
yep.
And do you feel like you're all right as far as food supply? Are you going to be okay, or do you worry about that, or what do you think?
I'm okay for a while. Like I'm not worried as of yet. I have a Wagyu brisket in my freezer, and I would hate to pull it out and use it for chili or something. And it's supposed to be smoked and barbecued, but man's got to do what man's got to do.
Yeah, I guess. If there weren't travel restrictions, I'd come and eat it with you, but that's impossible.
Are there travel restrictions?
Are there? Maybe there's not. Maybe I'll come on and eat it with you.
Pranav, what was the best stuff we ate in Spain?
Yeah, I was just going to read that question.
Yeah.
What did you eat in Spain? Like, you got a chance to eat something in Spain, right?
If the airport counts, yes. The only meal I had in Spain was a sandwich at the airport.
Was it a fantastic sandwich? Tell me all about it. It was a $3,000, $4,000 sandwich, right?
I mean, I think I saw the picture of it. It looked pretty good.
It surprisingly, it was nice. So the only thing I was looking forward to eating in Spain was the ham. And I was really bummed out that I didn't get any ham when I was in Spain. But then at the airport, they had the ham sandwich. So
ham sandwich, there you scored.
Now, did you get that from the place that had all the ham hanging, or did you get it from the other place?
I don't think there was one with the ham hanging.
Oh, you didn't see
was
that?
There?
Oh yeah, they had like 800 euro hams hanging there. It was just nuts.
Oh, maybe I was like at a different gate section. I didn't see it.
Normally, I get blamed.
So maybe it wasn't
a
good score.
Talk to the food side of things, but tonight it was you guys.
Actually, it was in the chat.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, blame the chat.
Was it Kenny? Was it Kenny?
It was Alex.
Oh, it's Alex. Kenny and I were up talking about food late last night.
That sounds like fun. I mean, it's something fun to talk about when we've got situations like this.
Yeah. Well, we talked about in Vape Church, when you guys were in Vape Church, we talked about learning to cook and things like that while self-quarantined. Practice making.
Oh, that was me.
Eggs.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah. I'm getting pretty damn good at making scrambled eggs, that's for sure.
So, do you put anything in your scrambled eggs?
Just butter. So I start with like a tablespoon of butter into the pan, and as it's fully melted, I add like 6 eggs. I beat 6 eggs into a bowl and add them, and then I just keep stirring and removing the pan from the heat, and then put it back, and then remove it, and just keep stirring until it becomes almost
Ramsay
scrambled eggs, and then I throw it on a plate and season it.
Yeah, my favorite thing to do with eggs is put in the mascarpone cheese.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that. I gotta try that.
You gotta try that. And this morning for breakfast, I made steel cut oats with macadamia nut creamer, which
I saw that, dude. Nice, nice post.
You want to talk about something good? I think I'm gonna be having that tomorrow.
I get the macadamia nut milk when I go and get my acai bowls. You can pick which liquid goes in, and I get the macadamia nut milk. It's fucking great.
Wow, nut milk.
Nut milk in my pitaya bowl. Prav likes that one, man. That's good.
gonna have to see if I can buy some mascarpone cheese tomorrow. See if they have it.
Some what kind of cheese?
Isn't that what George said? Mascarpone?
Yeah, the mascarpone cheese. It's kind of like cream cheese, but
It's Italian sweet cream. It's like really good on cinnamon rolls.
That's what you're going to ask for. You go to a grocery store during a pandemic food rush. Excuse me.
No, I know where to find it. I don't need to ask about it.
But you think you can get it? That's fucking great, man.
everyone else is buying toilet paper. I mean, you can't eat that shit.
I can't get bread, but this motherfucker's got his choice of cheeses over there in LA. I like this shit.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I'll report back in our next stream. Be sure to ask about it. You need to ask about the mascarpone update.
Mascarpone. I don't know what the hell that is.
And all I have is old cheese.
Old cheese.
Good old cheese.
Like Limburger, what do you have?
Oh yeah, if you guys ever do come visit, we'll eat some old ass cheese.
Old ass cheese.
I don't know about old ass cheese, but I'll eat some old cheese.
I don't usually eat ass
Depends on
cheese.
the Oxford comma.
Yeah, where is the comma here? Is ass cheese in the same deli department as nut butter?
Oh, those Cliff Bars with nut butter are pretty good.
So what old cheeses do you like? I like old stinky cheeses too.
Oh yeah. So I've got a collection of cheddars, and they keep surprisingly well. Some of them. I was just looking at them. Opened one up in December. Had some friends from Amsterdam stopped in for a visit. Like, you guys have never been here before. Let's eat some really old cheese. So we started with some Gouda, and that was almost 5 years old. That was pretty good. And then we finished off with some cheddar, and it was one of the older cheddars I had in the fridge. This thing was over 20 years old.
Motherfucker.
So I was like, yeah.
You've been saving that one.
Been saving that one since the turn of the millennia. That cheese was made in 99.
Nice.
That's crazy.
That's some old ass cheese.
It was an old ass cheese.
That's when my youngest kid was born, man.
I like Parmigiano Reggiano and all those as well, like the nutty Italian cheeses.
Yeah.
I love cheese.
Got any good vegan cheeses, guys?
Oh,
Just for a chuckle.
It's not hard to come by.
They are hard to come by. You have to really be like vegan to appreciate them. Otherwise, forget it.
When you were telling me about all the changes you made and how good you feel with being vegan, I'm like, man, I'm going to be vegan. But then I was like, can I be vegan except for like cheese and eggs?
No, that's vegetarian. Meat? Well, now you're just eating whatever. Now you're American again.
Sorry.
No, that's not sorry. You go right ahead, man.
I really like cheese.
Cheese was the last thing I gave up on the list of stuff I've turned on my journey.
And you felt a lot better after giving up cheese?
Oh, yeah, that stuff, man. Yeah, I don't like if I came to visit you guys, I would absolutely try some of that cheese. I'm all about checking things out, but then that's it. I'm not going to eat any more cheese. That's an easy one for me to say no to.
So you'd eat some old ass cheese?
I would eat some old ass cheese. I would eat some old ass cheese. That's what I would do. Right? You working that comma there, Pranav?
I have some mold ass cheese too.
I bet you do, man. How old is that?
Or moldy old ass cheese, or some combination of moldy, old, and cheese.
Do you eat the Limburger?
I'm not a big fan of it.
Okay.
To me, it just smells bad, but doesn't taste like much.
Oh, okay.
If a cheese is going to smell bad, it should have a powerful flavor too. And the stinky cheeses that come from that category are the ones that they just tend to have a creamy, doesn't really want to dissolve in your mouth feel, and not a whole lot of flavor, but they smell like you forgot to take the diapers out for a little bit too long.
I found that the Limburger is always better if you buy it and let it sit in the fridge for like 3 more months.
Well, I definitely feel that way about a lot of blue cheeses. They're just too young. The blue cheeses start to get good when you can spread them with a knife.
Mm-hmm. I like the gorgonzola. I like to buy the gorgonzola. Wow.
I see someone in the chat offering to trade cheese for. Well, I don't see what you want to trade for. So. But this time of year, where it's easy to ship cheese because it's not warm out, I'm all about trades. So anyone that's listening, you got something cool? Hell yeah! Send me some info. Send me some pictures. Let's trade.
I got some tofutti vegan cream cheese.
Do you?
You guys would hate it. No, I'm just joking.
What are the cheese with those crystals in it?
The cheddar? Well, both. Actually, just about any old cheese is going to develop crystals. So I can give you a blue, a gorgonzola, a cheddar, and a Gouda, and they'll all have the calcium crystals in there.
Okay.
They don't taste like much, but they're really satisfying to crunch.
Yeah. It's the texture. Yes, it's the texture.
Oh, yeah, the texture is just amazing.
I've had Munster with crystally substance in it as well.
That means it's got a few months on it. You're not normally going to find any calcium crystals in cheese. It's not at least a couple years old.
I used to work at a factory that made brie. I worked with brie.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
What'd you do?
Most of the time it was packaging, so taking the raw brie and either wrapping it in the paper and putting it in the can, or putting the cans in the box, or stacking the boxes. Sometimes I was herbing the brie. Sometimes I was taking it from the room where they were making it raw and putting it in the room where they mold it and age it. Sometimes I was fetching it.
Oh, so you got to put mold on cheese?
I got to watch the cheese get molded, yeah.
Nice.
Did you ever swim in cheese?
I put my fingers in the cheese when it was still not cheese yet, when it was just liquid, just sitting there waiting to turn into a salad.
But you didn't have this overwhelming urge to jump in.
Not that one, no. I ate a lot of cheese.
Not that one.
I fell.
Hear about the other one then.
I also worked with Swiss cheese, and I got to eat a lot of Swiss cheese before it was aged, before it had the holes in it, and it was delicious.
Yes.
I love to this day I'm I would love to buy Swiss cheese that doesn't have its hole, it's just freshly made Swiss cheese.
They sell that in Wisconsin, and they call it baby Swiss.
Yeah, in California, baby Swiss still tastes like
Swissy, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it got
you like the younger Swiss?
Oh, I like the old as well, but the really young stuff blew my mind.
That tends to be the case.
And I didn't like brie when I worked there, but now I love it.
That fucking sucked. That's why I figured you would swim in it. I was like, dude, tell me you were jumping in that thing, and you were getting locked in at night, so you could just go swim around.
Brie was I guess it still is pretty expensive, so they watched the brie really close.
I'll bet.
And most of the time we were dealing with brie that was still whole, but sometimes we would deal with brie that got sliced. So there was a slicing machine, and anytime that a brie, even a single wedge, was unaccounted for, there would be somebody where'd this wedge of brie go? It's
a single cut of the cheese. They're on it.
Yeah, it's who cut the cheese.
That's right. I know that happened.
Yeah. So whenever some a brie would get smushed, usually all the adults around would group up and eat the whole thing, so there'd be no traces. So I forget how they did the math or whatever, but yeah, they would consume a whole brie quickly.
I want to try some of this crystally cheese shit. That sounds pretty neat. It's little crunchy stuff, sugary kind of a thing.
Yeah, I think they're kind of like sugar crystals because they crunch, but they don't really dissolve. They just more or less disintegrate.
It's probably more of a
don't have much
salt,
flavor.
isn't it? More like a calcium salt.
Right. No, because the salt gives you that salty sensation on your tongue, but these things don't. They just give you more of a texture.
Sounds good.
When you guys want to come up for a visit, you want to aim for May. Hopefully things will kind of calm down, maybe June.
Yeah, Yeah.
When's it nice up there?
You start thinking about it because we want to have a good couple months to plan things out so we can make it into an event.
Yeah.
We can save up titanium shavings. We can have a bonfire, and we can do all kinds of cool stuff.
There's another
Oh,
event
yes.
that I plan around in the summer as well. So maybe we can coordinate, have 2 of them.
You mean Burning Man?
No, there's a Weber Kettle Club meetup. So all these Weber collectors meet up in Chicago.
The area?
Yeah,
Oh, Chicago? Right on.
And that's a club that I founded. I started the whole kettle collecting mania.
That's crazy.
Nice.
Yeah. No, it's a worldwide sensation. Trying to do the same thing with vapes. Trying to make
I think we should do that. What a nice gift to give to people that used to smoke. Like, here you go. Keep doing what you're doing, but this will taste better, and your lungs will thank you.
Yeah, I'm struggling to find the way to present that information sometimes. Sometimes people who are so latched on to smoking pot just resist. They hear the word vape and they have made their decision before they hear any new information. It's a struggle.
Well,
Well, you're blowing my mind with this microdose shit, man. I'm sorry, dude. I literally just took one of those hits. It was like, what the fuck? Like, this bowl's already too small, but now you've got me on this chintzy little fucking size, and I got that hit. That hit was great, man. Like,
wait till you get the next one, Jerry.
What's that?
Wait till you get the next one. This whole less is more thing is really shocking, and as you get a little bit deeper down into it, you might come to the conclusion that, wow, have I been really using that much more than I actually needed to all along?
I'm sure I am.
Maybe this is why the dispensaries aren't so excited. They'd rather people smoking these big fat blunts where they're going through large quantities and just creating smoke in the air versus just consuming a small amount of high quality product that, take a little bit at a time.
Dope, man. And now you got me. Now I know how to adjust the screen.
Yeah, now I'm going to have to adjust my screen. Thanks, Jerry. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you should, man.
I'm doing it right
now. You guys
now.
in the chat, man, get that half bowl down. We're talking like 0.05 grams, right? Like a 20th of a gram in this little lower size.
You think about that.
It's ridiculous.
20 fills out of a gram, and they're 20 good, tasty, flavorful fills.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny how you mentioned the smoking thing. I think that the chamber size is almost analogous to that. That a lot of the people that used to smoke, or a lot of the people that have been using vaporizers for a while, they get kind of fixated on chamber size. That bigger's always better. And I just want to put forth the question: is it really better? Is it actually kind of nice to reduce your chamber size, get a nice couple flavorful draws, and then empty it out and reload and get a couple more nice flavorful draws. And by the time you've taken a few nice flavorful draws, you might find that, what? I'm okay. I don't need any more flavorful draws for a few minutes. Cool.
Yeah, I'm coming from big bowls and high temps. And this little dinky thing is crazy. Troy and I vaped through some big old bowls the other day at 330. So we're messing with lower temps. I gotta get your low temp cap on here and see what the hell that's like.
Oh man, those low temp bowls. I'm still surprised by that. Like I'm still struggling with the results from that test, Jerry.
Every time I've hit this low temp bowl, I didn't get anything, but that's why I want to jump on it. What did you do?
What?
Did you say you did something with it?
No, I was just saying that, man. I'm trying to get this screen up here at the highest ring without it flying out.
Remember, there's that whole George technique where you put your thumb covering the tip and just slowly squishing it up.
Do it again if you want to watch.
No,
yeah, do it with them. Do it with them. It was perfect.
Switch the screen. I'll walk you right through it again.
That's what I'm doing right now. I got my condenser.
Oh yeah. So make sure you put your finger right over the end of the tip.
It's right here.
There. Yeah. And that way, if you push a little bit too hard, no big deal. You pop the condenser on, you pop it back all the way down to the bottom. so you won't lose anything. But you just go until you kind of feel it move into position.
Pretty good.
Put it all the way back down installed. Start over from the fully seated position.
Start from the fully seated position.
Yeah. So push it all the way down to the bottom. Because what we want to happen is we want the screen to dome up as we're pushing it up.
Oh.
And
Oh.
Do you adjust it the same way with the titanium, George? It's just not as good a ledge, but you do it the same way?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Oh.
So another way that might be a little bit useful, if you kind of look it out, I've got my screen in the lowest position here right now. And I'm putting my condenser in. I just slid the O-ring all the way up so it's touching the end of the tip. Now I'm going to basically pull my O-ring back just a couple of millimeters so you can see there's a little gap.
Check this out, Troy. This is what you got to look at, Troy. Watch this.
Yeah.
See the position?
Yeah, I just slid the O-ring down from here to there. So I've got a little gap. Because if we look at it, we look inside, we can kind of see that there's about 2 to 3 millimeters between the lower screen position and the upper screen position. So now I've got a reference in terms of how far I've actually pushed my condenser. So there you can kind of see.
Yeah.
Move my O-ring just a little bit. So now I can just kind of push on this. And
Okay.
I'm where I need to be.
That makes sense.
Okay. So it gives you kind of a visual indicator. We're not moving all that far.
Yeah, what you could put a little ring or a little scratch right where it should be on condenser tubes.
Yeah, I might have to do that.
That'd be your little reference point marker for when you want to pop the screen up and
Actually,
everybody
you know
hit it
what?
just right.
Let me grab a titanium condenser. See if that doesn't actually have it.
Also, you should probably make a video that covers all of that. It's pretty good points out there.
Rob. Let's do that.
I'll bet you ours will be up before yours.
Oh, come on. Maybe share a little bit. Oh.
I'm gonna low temp. I got my low temp cap, so I'm gonna give this one a go now. I think if I remember correctly, it's somewhere like between 15 and 20 degrees. Well, basically 10 degrees Celsius lower, probably on average. If you just do everything the same, that's a normalized.
Oh, that's yep.
Does that sound right?
I did have it somewhat close. Is that the one? Yeah. Gotta find a XL condenser. Or just I don't have a standard titanium condenser anywhere.
Troy, are you muted? Did you want to be?
No, I don't think I wanted to be, but I don't think you missed anything.
All right, thanks, Kyle. Oh yeah. I think Daddy likes this low temp cap.
Well, I did find a little compatibility here as I'm trying to make this as easy as possible, and I really appreciate you guys for kind of pushing me through these exercises. It helps me better understand the devices and how people are utilizing them quite a bit. But if I look at this kind of an old school standard.
Troy, can you get it on George so that it just stays on him? Hang on, George is going to focus on you.
Okay. So I've got this old school standard condenser here, but any of the standard condensers, not the M condensers, at least not at this point, that has the 3 O-ring grooves, one in the very end,
yeah,
one for the mouthpiece, and then the other one further forward. If I I've got my screen on this tip all the way forward. And if I just push this in until it hits that screen, we're going to see that the O-ring grooves just disappear. Okay, so we're just the other side of those O-ring grooves is about where you're going to want to be when that screen's in that final position.
Okay.
If you have one of these.
Nice. So that would be an XL condenser tube.
No, this is a standard condenser.
Standard condenser tube? Okay.
Yeah, the XLs are too long.
Gotcha. I see what you're saying. Sweet. Yeah, I love it, man. No, once you showed me, that was easy, man. That was easy.
And it's one of those things that it might be just a little bit challenging and annoying to begin with, but once you've been able to do it a couple times, it's not so bad. Just like so many things with these devices, you'll start to develop a feel for it.
Right.
This just makes it fun. There, so.
All right. So my 2020M is set up for microdosing now.
Nice.
Badass.
It may not
Damn
be
this thing.
It may not be the final ring of microdosing, but it's in there.
Nice.
I'm gonna vape now. Whoop. That grinder is empty.
Fucking dope, man.
Son of a bitch.
Dude, it's great with the low temp cap, Troy. You're gonna love that.
I don't have my low temp cap nearby.
Well, is it in the other room or something?
Yeah.
If you want, we can wait, man.
No.
Pranava's got a couple jokes he can tell us while you're getting it. Like your shirt, Pranav. Pretty cool design.
Oh, thank you. I know a place where you get them.
I'll bet you do, man. Check out this little trick. Don't look.
Okay.
See, look, I have the white logo shirt now. Now it's a black logo shirt. Two different shirts in one. You've got the third one with the green. All right. This has been a lot of fun with this low temp microdose cap. That's for Decor. One more. Let's see what I get out of it. Probably.
Any plans to make a high temp cap?
Actually, it's a possibility. We've done a little bit of beta testing on it, but it seems like the results weren't what we were expecting or hoping for. It seems like most people are getting the performance that they like out of their standard cap by just heating a little bit lower, towards the digger outer to get the high temperature.
Okay.
So doesn't mean we won't do it, but it didn't seem like it was really accomplishing a whole lot. I don't know. Do you feel like there needs to be more temperature, especially when using concentrates in a coil?
I'm not sure about concentrate use specifically, but I know that I routinely heat past the click, like even now with the torch.
Okay. So what I'd suggest that you give a try, not that you're doing it wrong, because as long as you're getting the results you're looking for, as far as I'm concerned, you're doing it right. There's just sometimes different ways to get to the same result. You can use spray paint or you can use a roller, and you can apply a coat of paint with either. So I think that if you were to heat a little bit slower and heat a little bit lower on the cap, and maybe even take a few seconds of a break to allow the heat to soak in and to conduct more thoroughly through the entire extraction chamber, you might find that you're getting a lot of what you're looking for right when the cap clicks.
Oh, that sounds good. I'm gonna do that next with my low temper. I'm gonna heat soak the low temp.
Soak it.
Heat soak the low temp.
And you can soak it with a torch. You can soak it with an induction heater. And I think for a lot of people that are heating past the click in the induction heater, if you'll heat it for 1 to 2 seconds and then stop for 2 to 3 seconds, and then reapply the heat for a couple seconds and then stop, and just kind of more slowly bring things up to temperature, you might find that you're going to get a little bit more consistent results.
That's what I do.
Yeah. It's because you get it. and that's a fun thing, it's kind of like learning how to drive your car. Initially it's a little bit uncomfortable and you're looking for where all the controls are, and after a while it just kind of becomes second nature. You just get it.
Yeah, this is crazy, man. And you guys in the chat, man, if you can microdose with these things on a low temp cap, man, break that shit out. This stuff's whacking me. Like, this is ridiculous. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Good times, Jerry. Good times.
Good times.
Or is it just that this is my 12th bowl tonight? Whatever it is, it's working.
Is it your 12th?
I don't know. I've been hitting these things all night. I stopped counting a long time ago.
There we go.
I've done 3 just on this little fucking half-ass size. Probably 3 or 4. I don't know. Roll the tape, man. Somebody got the tape. That's how we do this shit.
That's what...
The stats guys, what did they say? Stats guys, what's going on? How many times? Get back to me.
All
Do
right,
we
guys.
still know when we are?
Do you know where I'm at? Well,
I'm getting closer to now, I feel like.
We are pushing...
I figured it out. I figured there had to be a geometry that we could get compatible here with setting these screens, and here it is.
There you go.
If you take your condenser, place it in your cap, slide the O-ring up till it's just short of touching the end of the digger outer, you now have almost exactly the right length to push your screen from the lower position. You can kind of see, I put it in, there's just a small gap between the end of the digger outer and where I slid the O-ring from its home position to here. And so now if I take, we'll take 2 tips. Nope, that one's actually been adjusted, so I'll pop that one out quick. Shove it to the bottom. And so digger outer, slide my screen until it's just touching, or like O-ring, so it's just touching that digger outer, maybe just a touch more, so there's a little bit of a gap. And now I can take my screen, which is in the lower position, and I can go like this and just set it just like that, because now I've got that visual reference in terms of about how far I need to push.
And how do I know it's actually set and in a good place? You actually like to push it in a little
Then
bit.
I like to take the condenser and just lightly push on the screen. And if I can push on it and it doesn't move, we're good to go.
And just a little push. We're not cramming on it, right?
Just a little push. We want it to be able to resist when you're packing some material in there, not dislodging. And the good news is the screen's much larger than any of the apertures on the device. So even if it's not quite seated, it's not like you're going to suck it through the condenser.
Fucking dope.
What's the difference between a screen and a CCD?
Well, the screen is how should I say it? The more simple description of what a CCD is for someone that has never heard of CCD, unless they're talking about, the Center for CCD.
CDC.
Yeah, maybe we'll just leave that one alone.
Carrot dabber, make it small. Load.
But, the reason that we call it the CCD to begin with is because that's how it was described in the patent work, and it's a circumferential compression diffuser, because it's self-supporting. It holds itself in place without any sort of retainer clips, like some of the original devices that we had. If you guys have ever seen some of the old ones, like the old glass ones, and even some of the original titanium tips, they had a ceramic screen in them. And in order to hold that screen in, we had to use these little tiny stainless steel clips. And they were just annoying.
Jesus clips?
Jesus.
Yep. Because they pop out. And, they go someplace that's not necessarily in our dimension.
And you gotta pray to find them.
Necessarily.
And occasionally they do reappear. But for the most part, they just they phase into, I'm just going to say, into a higher dimension. Because
would this one do that too?
Just doesn't sound like as much fun.
All your screens do that? That's dope.
Yeah. Oh, you got an old one there. Nice.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the screen.
Is that an
moves in
interdimensional
mine.
one too?
Well, I can't quite.
It's only got like 7 holes in it. Yeah, it's a 7-hole screen, but I can from the glass one.
Oh wow, that's like one of the ancient
I
ones.
didn't realize that it moves. I need to get mine.
So that one that you have there, if I'm seeing it right, because that's a glass vap cap that doesn't even have the ground glass. So those screens, oh, they were such a pain to make, Jerry. I bought this punch and die set that you use for like punching metal and punching discs out of metal.
Oh my gosh, really?
And so I'd buy stainless steel shim stock, and I'd punch these little discs out of a sheet of metal, and then I would I took it was 7 finishing nails that I took and cut the heads off of them so they'd be nice and round, bundled them together, brazed the ends so it'd be one solid unit, and I would center that on top of this little disc in an arbor press on top of a piece of a Delrin, and use the arbor press to push all 7 points through that disc at the same time to make 7 nice uniformly spaced holes. And then I have to take the stupid disc and take my Dremel tool with this tiny little diamond saw blade on it and cut little slits so there'd be little feathers that could bend backwards, and then put the whole thing in a doming tool and smash it to give it a little bit of a concave shape so I could
Holy
put it
shit.
in a position.
That's crazy, man. That's what this is right here?
That's what that is right there.
Motherfucker.
Oh, there was such a pain in the ass to make. Oh, you're talking like a couple of minutes of dinking around for each one.
I was about to ask you, yeah, each one. Damn. Yeah, you've got like four corners on the cuts on the outside. It looks like maybe 4 along the edges. That's cool.
Mine's a little bit dirty.
Is yours the same kind of screen? Yeah, yours is jacked up dirty, man. I love it.
I'm not sure if it's the same screen as yours.
That looks like
You've got the glass one he was talking about,
is that
man.
one of the ceramic ones? I can't tell.
The screen?
Or it doesn't want to focus.
Oh, let me see.
Pull it back a little bit. Maybe we can see. If you can get it to focus, we'll get it. It's almost
It focused a second ago or a while ago here.
like
You need like a macro lens.
Oh, actually, you know what? I actually have one.
Oh,
There we go.
oh, look at that.
Nice.
there you go.
Yeah, that looks like a ceramic one. If the main screen will click back to you.
There we go. Is that
That's ceramic, George? That's got like
It's got like a metal ring.
nine holes in
Yep.
it.
That's one of the ceramic ones with the metal clip in there and the frosted glass. So I know for sure that the one you have, Jerry, is definitely one of the older ones. So that one would have been made sometime late 2015 to early 2016.
Well, did you catch that it's also got this spiral inner tube, whereas the other one had the straight? Like I've got 2 of them here.
That's a cool one. You got one of the nice old caps on there too.
This one's got the frosted glass on it here and a straight tube. This
Yep.
one's got the cool little spiral glass tube that I just can't believe you ever made. It's amazing.
Oh, those were fun to make, and it's, you know, that condenser tube, you know, has that shape on it because it's actually a dropper from a medicine dropper.
Holy shit, you even cut into the edges of the glass edge right here.
Make it a little bit easier for airflow and make it a little bit easier to, you know, dig into your stash.
It's great.
You know, since that wasn't ground, that was definitely one of the first ones. That's an oldie.
Yeah. I think I remember this too, because when you first came out of them, I think I had like 5 or 6 of these to test, and I remember that they weren't all this. I just remember I really liked this twisty tube inside. It was pretty dope.
Yeah, I like the twisty tube. Those were kind of fun to make. I don't know if I ever show you how to make those, Pranav, with the hydrogen torch.
Yes. I also saw the video of the automation.
Yeah.
Or was that just putting the airport in?
That,
I
that
don't
was just putting the
remember.
airport in, but we use that same torch with a smaller tip on it, and we had to just hold the torch and twist that thing at just the right rate
No way.
to make those indents in there, and you'd heat up the glass enough that the surface tension would just kind of sag it a little bit. It was a really cool thing.
That's dope.
I also just found out why the Jesus clip is called the Jesus clip. I did not know why.
The what?
The Jesus clip.
Why is it called the Jesus clip?
So it's called the Jesus clip because the spring action allowed it to launch it at a high velocity while removing or installing, leading to remarks such as, "Oh Jesus, where did it go?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Where did it go?
There's a lot of different clips with that name. I remember my Weber charcoal performer had a little clip to connect the propane tank to the burner assembly, and if you didn't get it quite right when you were putting it on there, it would go bing and go shooting out into like the neighbor's yard like a bullet. What a pain!
Bing.
And I always called those the Jesus clip as well.
Jesus clip. I'm having so much fun with my vap caps tonight, man. This has been a blast. Crushing these things. I think I gotta pack a new one.
What happens if I use the OG glass vap cap with an induction heater?
I don't think it'll work.
Well, it'll heat up the cap.
Yeah, the cap will heat up.
Glass. You might want to just heat it slow so that the heat can transfer, but it should still work.
I'm gonna try it
I
gently.
wonder if will it. So yeah, you're right. It would. Well, we'll find out. I wonder if it'll click quicker or probably.
I would really recommend some somewhat long pauses in between the pulses.
Yeah.
You know, one or two on, 3 or 4 off. Give it 10 seconds or so, maybe longer to heat up. Oh man, we're going old school here. I feel like I should be digging into my box of goodies and bringing up something that's old. I don't know how many things I've got that are much older than that one that Jerry's got. Holy cow.
Pretty cool one. It gets the first spot in my row of M's.
Yeah, that's an old Blackwood 7-pin, but it's not so old before the adjustable. Let's see.
Hey.
Oh, you got it going?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
In the induction, very cool.
First try.
Did you do what he said, or did you just go for it, or what?
I pulsed it up. I pulsed its way up.
Nice.
Needs to be cleaned. Tastes like old weed. A lot of reclaim in this beast.
Dude, that thing looked pretty dirty, man. You definitely put some miles on it, and yeah, it could use a soak. I'm always scared to do anything with these glass ones with the intercoolers because I mean they're fragile, man.
Oh, they're fragile.
I know.
You know, that's why the M exists, because although I like glass, it's kind of fun to work with. It's just so fragile, and the M's just generally don't break. Here's kind of a fun one.
No kidding.
This is like a 2014 model.
Nice.
Glass stem with the heat shrink mouthpiece.
Oh, nice. Love that.
That's just kind of fun.
And the other end, the bowl end.
Yeah, this is one I took and ground a little spiral into it.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
with the little grinding wheel that I would also you can kind of see on the edge the same serrations like what you have, Jerry.
Yeah.
And yep, this so the camera will participate.
One of your screens we talked about.
Yeah, one of those screens. See if I can shine some more light in there. Maybe it'll help. Yeah, you can actually see that. See the 7 holes in the middle and the little petals around the edge.
Yeah. Man, that's amazing the work you put into that by hand, making handmade tools.
And a lot of
Crazy
jigs
shit.
and fixtures. 'Cause, you know, I really wanted this to be a good quality tool. And to me, it was worth it. It's like, you know, who wants to buy junk? I don't know about you guys, but I just don't like buying junk. If I'm going to buy something, I want to buy something that's not only going to get the job done, but is also going to feel satisfying to use and satisfying to own.
Right on, man.
I think vap caps are really satisfying. Like even when you put them down, it's like you feel a little bit of heat left in there, and it all feels like part of the process.
Well, it's another fun thing with that cardboard packaging. You can put those things away hot, and cardboard doesn't care.
Yeah.
Cardboard never cares. I love it.
No, you even before the cool down click, you can just throw that thing right back in and drop it in your pocket, and life is good.
That's true. I need to. I've been doing the cardboard carry test, but I haven't had anywhere to go. So.
Yeah,
so
well,
I got
this
that.
is what mine looks like after riding in my pocket for a couple of weeks.
Wow. Okay.
So there's definitely some wear and tear on the on the graphics, but in terms of edges and edge separation, I haven't had any issues.
Is that the one you had at Champs?
Yes, it is.
Because I had took a picture of it and it had some of those same marks in it. So you're right, it's really holding up well. Because that means you took it to Spain and back.
No, I didn't take it to Spain and back because I didn't want to travel with anything that could potentially be problematic.
True. Good point.
But I'm still putting my device in it now.
I seem to do it anyhow everywhere I go, man. Dude, there was the first time I went to Costa Rica. I was going down, and I ended up basically muling a whole catalog of vapes down there for Patrick in the office, and no fucking shit, bro. Like I had 2 full suitcases. One of them was an army bag, you know, those big cloth bags, cinch bags that about, you know, human size. You can put a person in them. And I had that. I had like 2 volcanoes and an extreme and a plenty and about 15 portables, and that was packed. And then another suitcase full of shit. I mean, it was crazy. And I couldn't believe I got even out of the country with that shit. I was so scared because this was like 5 years ago. But then going into Costa Rica, I went in with that shit, and the guy, I was the only person they pulled aside. I mean, they don't give a fuck what you bring in there, but I definitely was pushing limits, and they saw dollar signs maybe. So they pulled me aside, and they wanted to know what all this shit was. And I kept telling them that, you know, they're vaporizers. We're using them for photography down here. And yes, I'm going to leave them down here. They didn't understand a fucking word I said, but I just kept sticking to my story. And eventually they just gave up because they didn't get me. And they figured out a way to let me through with this one-time exemption that you can do every 6 months or something. So I didn't get any taxes. It was like $15 or whatever.
Oh, nice.
I was scared shitless, man, traveling with, you know, 30 fucking vapes through customs anywhere 5 years ago. So on an airplane, man, fuck that noise.
What's
I
going
can
on?
remember last year
called
even
out for
Barcelona. I had a ton of vapes too. In fact, I had a lot more than I anticipated because one of our guys didn't take his weight allotment back home with him that he was supposed to be taking. So I had to take other things, including the vaporizers that I had planned on taking to Amsterdam. And so my check bag was overweight. So can't check it. It's like, oh crap. So I'm opening my check bag in the airport, and I'm taking bags of 2019 M's. Thank you.
It looked like bullets.
And loading them into my carry-on to reduce the weight of my check bag.
I got to put my ammo onto the carry-on.
I'm guessing it had to have been close to 200 M's in my carry-on bag. I mean, like in every pocket, anywhere I could possibly fit them. And oh man, did that thing get heavy. It just got so heavy. But then I put my carry-on back on the scale. It was still a couple kilos over, but the guy looked at me and saw everything I went through, and he just pushed it through.
Oh, nice. Right, he's like, all right, good enough.
Then I go through security, and they're going to be asking, I know it. And I know they're kind of funny with cameras, so I didn't take out my phone because I so desperately wanted to take a picture of their screen as it's like coming through their x-ray machine, because I could see when it was my bag because it was basically black. I mean, you couldn't see anything because there's so many M's in there. And they pulled me aside. It's like, would you open your bag? It's like, oh, I bet you're looking for these. Yeah. What is it? Well, it's actually a vaporizer. You want me to show you how it works?
Yeah, and you went into it, man. You went into
absolutely. So, but no issues. On my way.
Yeah. I worry about customs, but when domestically, they don't care. They're not looking for this shit. They're looking for weapons and stuff.
They're looking for security threats.
Yeah.
And that's what they should be looking for.
Exactly. I've gone through with all kinds of vapes and CBD and stuff that I would think, okay, I know it's CBD, but surely somebody's going to question, and they just never do. They just never do. I'm always pushing the limits, and they never do.
Well, thanks for pushing. It's people like you that are making it easier for everyone else.
Right on, man. That's what I'm here for, brother. I love LA. They're just straight up, you can travel with an ounce, we ain't going to fuck with you. Like, yes. Those guys are serious. I love it. I think the way it works is it's pretty much where you're leaving. Like, because I mean, once you get through security and all that, nobody ever looks at it again. You're done until you get to wherever the fuck you're going, and you're done. So,
But really, when's the last time you went to security on the way off the plane? Maybe only when you're in a foreign country, and a lot of times it's not even then. You go through security on the way onto the plane, not the way off.
Exactly.
So, I'm surprised more people don't travel, with whatever they want. If it's legal where you're at, well, the airport's not going to care.
Yeah. I've always flown with plenty.
Yeah. I've never been asked for my med card, anything.
California's nice.
Yeah, baby. Look, Cali. All right, I packed a nug into this 0.05 gram size Dynavap bowl with the low temp cap now. So now I know this is going to be good.
Nice. Is that going to be, you want that to be your final nug of the stream? We're pushing 2.5 hours now.
Are we pushing limits here, man?
I'm not sure if you guys got things to do or not, but I've got a video to publish. We've got our 2020 Troy and Jerry talk show about the 2020 M that was supposed to be out today, but right now it's uploaded and ready to publish. Actually, I can probably click publish right now, but I didn't put in the time.
Gotta get the right date stamp. You got 15 minutes.
I don't know. Do you guys want to keep streaming? Keep shooting the shit?
That's up to you guys. I don't know if we got anything else that's more interesting to talk about, but
oh wow, man. Yeah, I got another bowl or two in me because I'll do another one of these. But damn,
small chamber size. I know it's not for everyone, but
with the low temp cap too, man. I love it. Troy, you and George got me now twice in a row taking these low temps, man. First was that volcano thing we did. Now is this.
Yeah, the volcano thing was trippy. That was trippy. I was not expecting that. We vaped sativas, like a Blue Dream, which would normally give us like a mental energy and make us clean the house. we vaped it in the Volcano hybrid, but we only vaped it at 334 degrees Fahrenheit. Is that what it was? 334?
Yeah, that was the number.
So we just vaped it at 334 for like 3 or 4 bags, and the effects were very, very much not like sativa. They were very sedative. We were both very slow and could have taken a nap right there. It was wild.
It was, dude. And then we followed it up with a bag at 390, and then that did it even worse. Like it was almost like it opened the floodgates. I was like, I literally was like, what the?
Yeah, and it felt like my highs for the next few days were also more like that.
Yeah, it lingered, man.
Like,
and then we started streaming.
yeah,
That was the warm up.
Seriously though, like the next few days, like every time I would vape something, I would get extra sleepy.
Huh.
That's
great if
fantastic.
you're if you're not tired.
Maybe I just needed it. Maybe I needed some sleep. I've never had a normal sleep schedule.
I don't really care for normal sleep schedules, but holy cow, being at home a whole lot of the time for the last week or so, it's really been interesting. I don't think that I'm pretty sure that I'm no longer contending with any lack of sleep.
Oh, right on.
In fact, I think it's about time to go on a diet again.
Yeah, you're really packing them on there, George.
Oh,
I was worried about you. Oh,
nice.
finished my tea too. This is perfect timing. I'm gonna finish this bowl and the tea. We'll be right there. This is really been
I'm vaping on the
enjoying that.
modern cannabis sticky brick.
Yeah, you are.
Super
OG.
nice. Little leopard wood there, huh?
Those things are
Leopard wood,
cool.
yeah. Shout out Sticky Brick. I think Sticky Brick's still in the chat.
Yeah, Kenny.
Hey, Kenny. Kenny's been live streaming daily. How awesome is that?
Yeah, he's been killing it. He's been killing it.
Kenny, did you see the piece I wrote for Planet of Apes on the champs? Did you see that? If not, check it out, man. I got you in there.
Oh man, I need to go see that. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, if you check that out, man. I talked about. I even got a picture of my Stundenglas. Oh, that thing is awesome.
It was a good
I
time.
can't wait to have one of those. Must have.
How come Pranav wasn't in Vegas for champs? I didn't see Pranav.
No, we were saving him up for Spanibus, and Pranav had been doing a little bit of traveling just before champs too, so it would have been pretty intense.
Okay, that makes sense. Next champs.
Next champs. Will you be attending any of the other champs or just Vegas?
I usually just go to the 2 Vegas shows, the one in the summer and then the one in the winter. But sometimes I'm tempted to go to the one in Florida because it's close to Jerry. But I don't know.
It's small, dude. Like it might be the smallest one they have. It's probably a third the size of what we saw in Vegas at best. You can walk it, and last year I walked it in 3 hours. Like
Fully.
saw it
Yeah.
in 3 hours, And then I walked it twice. They had it for like 3 or 4 days, which is just ridiculous. But,
This show, I did not fully see the show. I did not walk every aisle.
me neither. I needed to. I got to get on that.
By the time I was ready to walk it, my feet were not ready to walk it anymore.
Yeah, I saw you that day. You weren't walking much.
Yeah. Well, I think I also had like an edible hangover.
And then some, yeah.
Yeah.
You had some big
You were not
edibles
walking.
there, Troy.
I did. I was on some pretty strong edibles, and they lasted. They lasted for a long time.
Like how many days?
Definitely into the next day.
Wow.
Yeah. It's foggy. 505. Is that what it was?
505. Getting on the 505.
Yep.
It's the highway to high.
The big
Man, I
freeway here
really
is the
like
5.
Right.
One that goes up to the Seattle.
Yep. Yeah, I like the West Coast. I used to live out in the Seattle area for a while. Just go up to Vancouver. Nice up there.
Nice. Did you go to school up there?
No. Just lived out there for about a year before I decided to move somewhere else, which wasn't exactly the best place to move to. Down to South Georgia. I like the weather in Washington a lot better.
Pacific Northwest is definitely beautiful.
Oh yeah,
I like it up there as well. I have family up there. I thought about moving up there as well, but we did the old, if money didn't matter, like where would I like to live, and we chose Southern California, and then moved here.
Right on. Then money started mattering.
Yeah, then we're like, fuck, money matters a lot.
That's funny, man.
Actually, that didn't really happen until I quit my job. That's when I was like, oh, all right.
Twitter, huh?
What's that?
Why do you want to quit your job?
What made me want to quit my job?
Yeah.
This.
About 3 or 4 years in before quitting my job, I realized that I wasn't passionate about the things I was doing anymore. Like I thought I was chasing my passion, and somehow I had fallen off track. And then when I found my new passion of making content around these vapes and geeking out and helping the community navigate all the different experiences and all the different functionalities and all the different products, I fell in love with that, and just being able to make some money with my passion was overwhelming. Like I went from wanting to shoot myself in the face to wanting to get up in the morning again. So yeah, that's when I quit my job.
Wonderful feeling, isn't it? I feel kind of the same way. And I don't know about you, Jerry, or Pranav, you're kind of in a whole different ball game, but I'd like to think all of us, we wake up and like, hey, it's a nice day to go to work. Can't wait to get there. We get to go do some fun shit today.
Yep. It's pretty nice, man. Even
Cheers
the
to that,
mundane tasks can be rewarding.
I spent the whole day editing a video of Jerry and myself talking about the 2020 VapCap M, and we shot a video for like an hour and a half or something, talking about the vape and talking about tapioca and talking about whatever. I don't know what else we talked about.
Yeah.
But I mean, how amazing is that? I mean, my job is to either shoot a video with my best buddy Jerry here, or edit a video, or myself doing it, or meeting with you guys, talking to you guys, helping vape manufacturers make their vapes better. It's perfect.
It's pretty dope. That's pretty dope, man. That's the way to create your vision, your life, your future. You know what I mean?
Sometimes it's still weird. Like sometimes like I still get like oh, I need to go do something more important, but I'm like, oh no, this what I'm doing is really important. It's part of my job.
Right on.
It's such an interesting realization when you can come to that. It's like, actually, yeah, this is work, and it actually is important, because this is now what I do.
Yeah.
Cool. Is that really true? And there's just certain situations, and I know, Pranav, you've been on some of them. We just kind of look at each other, it's like, is this really work?
So many times.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Especially like my first Spannabis visit, like it was so surreal that yes, I'm here and like this is happening and this is the industry. I was just nuts.
This is actually work.
That's fucking cool, man. I love it that that's happening for more and more people too.
Well, I hope that it can continue to spread, that more and more people can, be part of this growing movement and just deriving a significant amount of satisfaction and even joy from participating in something that, whether maybe people don't understand it or believe it or not, is actually something that's really important to them. And, as I think the stigmas finally start to dissolve and more of the rest of the world is coming to the conclusion that the concept of a war on drugs is one of the most asinine concepts that's ever been dreamed up and was really only instituted to keep a very select group of people in a position of power and control so that they could benefit, from a profitability perspective versus the overall well-being of civilization.
Yep. Build a platform of prison population that is supports a whole economic sector.
Well, it's prison populations and prescription poison.
Not to mention the hemp versus paper plastic industry and all that.
Oh, man. But on a happy note, things are changing. And changing in what appears to be a very positive and uplifting manner. And I just hope that it can continue.
Right on, brother.
In one of the streams the other night, we were talking a little bit about what we expect or when we expect to see federal legalization. I think you had said 2 years was your forecast?
That was my forecast back then. I was thinking how useful it would be right now if they would utilize the state of national emergency to just decriminalize right now, just be done with it. Because then all of a sudden, all the people that are cooped up at home are going to become a lot more civil with each other. And they're going to be ordering a lot more takeout, which is going to support the restaurants that are going to sell. People aren't going out.
Now we're getting somewhere.
Which is going to support a lot of these small businesses, which keeps the infrastructure in place and keeps the economy intact.
The butterfly effect.
Totally.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so just imagine the positive impact that, state of emergency decriminalization would have, not just on this country, but globally. Because now all of these emergency workers can focus on the more important things versus, oh, yep, that's illegal. You're not supposed to have that. But it makes me feel better, or it helps me be a nicer person so that I only want to take and buy a 1 week supply of toilet paper instead of a 3 month supply.
This
funny,
keeps
man.
me sane.
Keeps me from hoarding, dude. Don't stop me.
I'm going to have a little dab. I don't know if you guys are into dabs or not, but...
Oh, that's a nice rig.
That's a good idea. What are you working with there? Oh, you got your peak.
My Puffco Peak. I've been using, Jerry, believe it or not, I've been using the titanium cup. I won't focus on there.
Oh, really? Nice. How do you like it?
It's a game changer.
All right.
It's a game changer. I can't believe how harder the Puffco Peak hits just with the titanium cup.
All right, then. Talk to me, Goose.
Does it heat up faster?
Heats up faster and it hits harder at lower temperatures without making the oil taste like tire.
Yeah.
Like I found, like with the Peak, if you hit,
tire.
yeah, you get that plasticky taste. So I'm on blue. Blue is the lowest temperature in the Peak. Now it's heating up.
You think we can get someone on this feed to tweet Trump to save the country?
There's the vapor.
Tweet Trump. I don't know enough about Twitter to know what that means. But
Oh. That's how Trump spreads his information.
yeah, but you can tweet him back like he is a conversation.
Well, I think so. Pranav would know. He's more on social media. I'm still the neophyte. Pranav's been holding my hand so I don't screw up Instagram.
Don't break Instagram, George.
No, I don't want to break the account or do something dumb like that.
There you go.
One of these days, I'll be a little bit more proficient with it, but I don't think I'm quite there yet. Getting better though.
All right, I think I've got a pretty. Is that a good installation of a titanium? Shit, no. Yeah, you're right. The new M tip. You've done a really good job of making that easy to adjust the screen that way. I like it.
Oh man, Jerry, that geometry was probably the hardest geometry to get dialed in on that whole tip. Is just the adjustable geometry, and it's actually a really hard tolerance to maintain.
Yeah.
Because the difference between clearance for the screen and having a groove that holds the screen in place.
Yeah.
It's a decimal point with not a whole lot of numbers behind it to kind of designate how deep that groove really is.
Wow.
I mean, you can kind of feel it if you use like a dental pick. You can kind of see it, but there's just not much there. And the lead-in angle was a really critical thing in order to get the screen to stay in the right shape and to stay in position.
Well, that's dope, man. Well done. I'm in love with this microdose on this particular model. It's really fucking cool.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
fucking
I'm a
killer.
big fan of the smaller is better.
Right on, man.
You know, one square of toilet paper at a time, right?
Less is often more.
One square at a time. That's not something I do very often. I'm not sure how to say. I don't think I can get by on that, but
I'm not advocating for that at all. It just seemed like something funny to say.
all right. As long as we're not trying to hit some standard that I'm clearly gonna fail.
No, but I did have to laugh about this whole toilet paper thing as I was thinking about our devices because, in fact, you probably might even remember this, Jerry. When you got your first VAP cap and you opened it up, you took it out of the tube, it was probably wrapped in one square of toilet paper.
I remember that.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what mine was.
That's funny. George was getting us prepared, one VAP cap at a time back in the day.
Just a few years early. It's like, you know what? You might need this someday when you try to buy toilet paper.
Damn, I
So
wish
now I got to go find.
I'm sure I took a picture of it when I opened mine, but I never made any content on the OG.
Well, I got to go grab all of my old tubes now and get some toilet paper out of them.
That's your emergency reserve, right?
Exactly right. That's funny, man.
You should do that again and make it a marketing promotion.
Should we do that, Pranav? You know, I don't know where I'd put it in here, but it might be kind of funny to put one square of toilet paper in all the packages that we're shipping out.
There was a vape store that actually did a TP sale thing as a promotion, trying to get some viral attention. I didn't share it with anybody because I didn't like that vape store.
That's funny.
I was thinking we could sell rolls of toilet paper on our website, but that doesn't even quite sound right.
That's what this vape store did, or tried to do.
Dynawipe, a whole new meaning.
The Dyna wipes. Oh man, Sneaky Pete came out with some Sneaky Pete wipes, and they're awesome.
Sneaky wipes.
Yeah. I totally should have. I should totally. I wonder if I can still do that.
I heard that.
That's my dog.
That's funny. Right on, man.
Nice.
My
Tell us a
dog's-
story, Pranav.
Oh, on the spot now. I just got distracted.
While you're thinking about it, I'll talk about on the way back from the airport after Pranav hadn't slept for 40 some hours. You know, we're leaving Chicago. I'm like, are you hungry? No, not really. Like, okay, let's just drive. Let's get out of Chicago. And so we were listening to some killer music. Some Porcupine Tree. Pranav was DJing, and we were just having a really nice drive back from Chicago. Because, you know, there's not much better than leaving Chicago, especially after you've been flying like 20 out of the last 40 hours. And finally, we're about partway back, and he's like, you know what? Yeah, I think I am kind of hungry, but I don't want to eat until we get closer. So I'm like, no, I don't want to eat either, because I want to get something to eat, and I want to be in a place where when that food hits my stomach and my body's like, holy shit, you haven't slept in a couple days, it's time to go. I want to be able to just tip over and go to sleep. And so he's like, I know just the place. There's this late night burrito place that's open till like 3 a.m. I'm like, all right.
Guys are pro.
So yeah, we went to Pranav's special burrito place called Burrito Drive.
Burrito Drive.
Burrito Drive.
It's the only place in Madison that delivers food until 3 a.m. in the night. So it's perfect for the munchies.
Those are two very, very important qualities.
And it's not the place that gave you the undercooked burrito right before you left.
Yes.
Right? It is?
It is. It is.
And you went right back there.
But they delivered it at 2:30 in the morning. So
all right. They redeemed themselves?
Yes, they did. I don't know, George, did you like the burrito?
Oh, I was totally content with the burrito. In fact, it was really funny. After Pranav dropped me off at home, I opened the door. He kind of helps me get my bag and stuff like that, put it inside. He's like, all right, see you later. And of course, the phone battery in my phone was not holding a charge or taking a charge. Like the whole way home just kept getting closer and closer to dying. So he leaves, and his tire goes flat, and he can't call me because my phone's dead. And
it was a nightmare.
And I'm sitting on my couch. I'm like, all right, burrito. I got this nice glass of water, and I'm just sitting there on the couch. And this is after I walked in, and I see my kid there sleeping on the couch. His head kind of goes up for a second, and then it goes right back down. So I'm all situated on the couch now, and I'm about 8 or 10 bites into this burrito. And he moves around a little bit, and his head pops up again, and he looks at me with just this funny, like, what in the hell? Am I still sleeping?
oh shit!
As I'm just sitting on the couch eating a burrito.
Am I still sleeping?
Because he didn't even, and he's like, well, didn't you see me come in? He's like, no, how long have you been here?
Did you know you were coming home early?
Oh, yeah, he knew I was coming home, but just didn't know exactly when, because
okay.
Pranav was on a different flight than I was, and so I had to wait for him to land, and then we had to go retrieve his car from someplace downtown Chicago, but that actually wasn't even that bad. And it was so funny because called up an Uber, and it was like $40 to go get his car, and he's like, oh, I got to go another place to get the key, and went and updated it, and it got cheaper. It was so
nice.
cool. Like, wow, our Uber ride just went down by $5 in transit.
In transit, oh damn, man!
By adding another stop. Like, we should add more stops regularly.
Yeah, I don't know how that worked out, because that's just strange.
Maybe
We just didn't change the address. We added another stop.
And it got cheaper.
That's wild.
There must have been an economy buy or something like that.
Huh.
I'm gonna try that tactic next time, man. I got about one more hit in this thing. How about you?
I didn't think I was gonna make it home that night. Like, my car made it all the way, and then it went flat, like probably a couple of minutes before I got to George's place. So I'm like, barely made it to the gas station, and it was down to like 9 psi, and this was at like 2 a.m. And all I could think of was, damn, my burrito is going cold.
Priorities intact, man.
Oh man, nothing worse. Flat tire and cold burrito. Terrible combination.
That's fucking great. I love it.
Then what did you stop at the gas station, put air in the tire, and made it back?
Yes, barely made it back.
Okay, and swap the tire in the parking lot.
Yeah,
brought it over. Is it still holding air?
I haven't switched it yet. I haven't left my house since 2 days now, so I still have to do that.
Yeah, you might want to just check it with a tire gauge and make sure that it's not leaking or anything like that.
It's actually on my agenda tomorrow to go get tires put on my car. Two new tires and probably brake pads, shoes, whatever.
Those things that make you stop.
Normally I do the brakes myself, but my garage is in no condition to work on a car right now.
It's because it's full of toilet paper.
Something like that. Some other type of hoarding thing.
Right. And toilet paper and hand sanitizer.
All right, Troy. Now I'm joining you in the faded club here, man.
All right.
Hey, thanks a bunch, guys.
Yeah, this has been fantastic.
No, thank you guys, man. You guys are awesome for coming on.
This is the end of the Think Dank stream. George, 2020 VapCap M. Pre-order right now. Available in a bunch of different places, as well as Dynavap.com. Links will be in the description of this video, probably eventually. Thank you for session with us tonight, George and Pranav, for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, guys.
Fun
Thanks a lot.
times.
You guys are great.